This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Nightbloom Vodka. Nightbloom is an American-made craft vodka of the highest standard. Nightbloom offers a diverse range of extraordinary blends using artisanal ingredients to create a truly unique taste of vodka. Check out their three main vodka lines, Nightbloom N1, N2, and N3, all curated for different taste buds. Make sure to grab yourself a bottle of Nightbloom before your next pay-per-view watch at nightbloomspirits.com. We'll link them below in our bio as well. Shout out to Nightbloom. Welcome back, everybody, to the Word Around the Ring podcast. My name is Big Rob, and I'll let my partner introduce himself.
You can call me King Jess, and we're the only podcast with more shock factor than a Nikki Bella Rumble return. We are now on the road to WrestleMania, and the Rumble had more than one road bump neither you or me expected. So, Rob, what's been the word around the ring?
It was a crazy weekend. We've been looking forward to it for the last couple of months. It has now passed us, the Royal Rumble weekend. That is, as we know, it was held in Indianapolis this last weekend. A time was had, some surprises were made, some debuts, some returns we have been anxiously waiting for. And I thoroughly enjoyed the entire pay-per-view itself. I'm excited to get into the details with you here. I know there's a lot to talk about, Jess, but want to start off the same way that the pay-per-view started off, with the Women's Royal Rumble match. This was the first announced match that was going to kick off the pay-per-view, which I was excited about. I think last year it also started off the pay-per-view as well, if I'm not mistaken. The number one entrant and the number two entrant of this year's Women's Royal Rumble match was Io Sky and Liv Morgan. Heading into the Royal Rumble match, I had Io Sky as my prediction. So seeing her enter number one made me very, very nervous, but I believed in her. How did you feel when you saw Io Sky be announced as the number one entrant in this year's Women's Royal Rumble match?
I mean, I think I was with you, right? Because seeing her as number one, you're either gonna be rooting for her the whole time to be the Iron Woman, or you know that she's just gonna get far enough to be able to showcase herself in a good way. I think that in a sense, she showcased her in the most perfect way, but I do wish that she would have won at the end of the day.
Definitely. I do wish she would have won at the end of the day as well. Unfortunately, she did not. And she only had one elimination throughout the match. That was Sonya Deville. So overall, a little bit of a disappointing outing for Io Sky for our prediction. And it was a disappointing Monday Night Raw as well. Just want to touch upon it. They already started with the Elimination Chamber qualifiers. Io Sky, having lost the Royal Rumble match, she found herself in a match against um Liv Morgan for a qualifying position in this year's Elimination Chamber on Monday Night Raw. Unfortunately, Liv Morgan did win due to a disqualification, though. Rhea Ripley tried to even the odds and try to come out to help Io Sky, because, as we all know, Liv and Raquel Rodriguez is part of the Judgment Day. They don't go anywhere together. They always interfere with each other's matches. And unfortunately, Rhea thought she was doing a good deed, but accidentally ended up costing Io Sky that qualifier match as well. Now Io Sky's future is up in the air. We don't know if she's going to get a final chance to join the Elimination Chamber. We don't know if she's going to get a chance to go to WrestleMania. And now, with everything that has transpired over the course of the last couple of days, so I'm praying for Io Sky. Do you see a world where Io Sky makes it to the Elimination Chamber?
Well, the interesting thing about her losing, I thought she was going to win against Liv, because when you think of Elimination Chamber, at least in the current women's roster, who do you think fits best in that match? None other than Io Sky. So to see Liv win over her, I would hope that she gets another chance at maybe qualifying for Elimination Chamber. But if she doesn't, I mean, I guess that makes sense. This was her one chance and it kind of didn't go her way. There was an interference though, so I would hope that the GM see that and maybe take action. But we just don't know. For now, Liv is the one that went on, and sadly, we might not see Io in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Io Sky's athleticism would play her in her favor if she were to enter the elimination chamber. I do think Adam Pearce will step in there and make this right. We'll have to wait and see. But back to the Royal Rumble match itself. Io Sky number one, Liv Morgan at number two. This was definitely a fun women's Royal Rumble match, one that I thoroughly enjoyed. I want to touch upon some of the NXT call ups, the surprises, the debuts that we got throughout this match as well. I was very, very surprised. We had the official debut of Jordan Grace as a WWE superstar. We know she made an appearance at last year's Rumble, but she was still under TNA contract. So this is her official debut as what is now a WWE superstar. So welcome to the roster. Looking forward to seeing how her career pans out. And then a couple of surprises. Want to hear your thoughts on the big one. We had touched upon it a little bit in the last podcast where we thought there may have been some contract issues as were reported, but Alexa Bliss did return here at number 21. How surprised were you to see her return? And were you excited? How did it fare against some of the other pops that you heard throughout the night?
You and me both had a red herring pick last week's episode when we were discussing the Rumble, and this was mine. Yours will come back into the fold when we get to the men's Rumble match, but I wasn't shocked. Many people have brought it up, and I had brought it up in the past on the podcast. She has been very active on social media, even going as far as posting post partum, body pics, and she looked great. She looked like she was ready to return. Was she in ring ready? I had no idea. But it seemed like the red herring actually lasted up until the last second, seeing as this was decided that morning that she finally could come together with the WWE and come to terms on a contract and have her actually pop at the Rumble. But this was I would say that this was the pop of the night. She got the loudest cheers out of anyone. Even the AJ return didn't get this loud. So I was happy to see her back. She's one of my favorites. I've always loved seeing her work in the ring, and I hope that she can come back and give us the same style of matches, quality of matches that she did before she left.
Most definitely. I was excited to see her as well. I was happy that the contract issues, if any, was just BS up until that point. And just seeing her back on television is exciting. She came out wearing a Friends with the R, very, 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 very lowercase, forever on the back of her leather jacket. So Fiends Forever, just a nice little nod to Bray Wyatt, of course. I'm interested to see where she's going to end up. We didn't see her on this week's Monday Night Raw, so maybe we'll see her on this week's Friday Night SmackDown with the Wyatt Six. So interested to see where she will move forward to in terms of storyline progression. She's always been super great on the mic as well. She's the only one I feel like who's ever really cut up Charlotte Flair and some of these other horsewomen on the mic. So I'm excited to see her back on television. A few other surprises here at number 25. Trish Stratus. Now, Trish has been in the WWE for the last couple of years. She's made her appearances here and there. I think the most recently we've seen her on television at Money in the Bank in Toronto, but she made a return to the in-ring action at this year's Royal Rumble. How did you feel about Trish Stratus being one of the surprises here? Do you think it was worth the entrance?
Well, Trish was one of my favorite surprises that actually popped. She's obviously one of the most influential females in the business, and honestly, my childhood crush. So I always love seeing her being used. And if we're gonna still have these legacy pops during the Rumble, I'm glad they at least went with someone that knows what they're doing inside the ring. Plus, being able to say that you eliminated Trish in the Rumble must be a nice accolade that they could put under their belts. Overall, though, I think this was a perfect position for her, especially if they were gonna bring any legends. They didn't do so, unless I'm forgetting someone in the men's, which I was happy about. I would say that these kind of legend celebrity kind of spots in the Rumble aren't as needed anymore because of the roster that we have. But when you do stuff like this, it does feel a little bit special. So I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a great way to bring her back here. Sprinkle in a few surprises, a few older superstars in Trish Stratus. So I definitely appreciate it. I was surprised that she was there. And then, of course, the big one, number 30. So listen, I'm going to just walk you through the list of the 29 woman up to this point. And I think we were all waiting for a certain surprise that we didn't get. Anxiously, I think it's now time to let that idea, let that thought go as
Yes.
fans. But I'm gonna walk us through this full list here. At number one, we had Io Sky. Number two, we had Liv Morgan. Number three, in NXT call up, Roxanne Perez. Four, Lyra Valkyria. Five, Chelsea Green. Six, BFAB. Seven, Ivy Nile. Eight, Zoe Stark. Nine, another NXT call up, Lash Legend, one of your favorites. 10, Bianca Belair. 11, Shayna Baszler. 12, Bailey. 13, Sonya Deville. Maxine Dupree. At 14, 15, Naomi. 16, another NXT call up, Jada Parker. 17, Piper Niven. 18, Natalia. 19, Jordan Grace, a TNA turned into WWE superstar officially. 20, Michin. 21, Alexa Bliss. 22, Zelina Vega. 23, Candice LeRae. 24, Stephanie Vaquer. 25, Trish Stratus. 26, Raquel Rodriguez. 27, the Queen, Charlotte Flair. 28, Julia. 29, Nia Jax. And to 30, when we got to 30, who were you hoping for to hear their music play when we got to the last 3 seconds of that countdown before 30 hit?
If I'm being honest, if it was ever gonna happen, this would have been the place to do it. So I honestly thought there was maybe a slight chance that AJ was bluffing us all and saying that she didn't want to return, that this was CM Punk's world, and that she's happy being away from it. But we didn't get that. Sadly, I was hoping that we'd hear that little tune and everyone would pop. But the person that came out, God, dude, you could take it from here.
You don't sound too excited about this. I
I am
wasn't
not.
that mad at it. I
Oh
wasn't that
boy.
upset at it. I wasn't that upset at it. But at 30, we got the famous words, you can look, but you can't touch. Nikki Bella's music hits. And she was the 30th entrant at this year's Women's Royal Rumble. In real time, I was excited. I was happy. We seen her at the Monday Night Raw debut on Netflix. They showed her there. There was already talks about her being in contact with WWE and executives about a potential in-ring return, and it just so happened to be the case. I am not 100% sure if this was just a one-off return, being that is a Royal Rumble. I don't think that is the case. I do think she'll be returning to wrestle full or part time here, especially as we head into WrestleMania season. You don't sound too excited about that. I just want to know why. Why is that? Why are you excited to see Nikki Bella on your television screen?
You know that meme of the old guy going, "Oh hell no!" That's me right now, bro. I don't want this show on my TV. Okay, I'm gonna keep this nice and short. I'm not a Nikki fan. Never have. Never will be. This was a wasted spot that honestly could have gone to Alexa to save Roxy her spot in the Rumble. But whatever. If those rumors are even true. And I'll keep it short just to not be rude. They didn't even go with the better Bella, so I'll leave it at that.
You're picking Brie over Nikki. Interesting.
100%.
Interesting.
The person that's been
Interesting.
personally trained by Daniel Bryan is not the better wrestler. Come on, bro. She always put on better matches than Nikki. Nikki was favorited because she had John Cena behind her back and because the company actually liked her. They treated Brie different because of her association with Daniel Bryan and how he acted throughout the company. So honestly, bro, I don't want to see this bitch on my TV. And excuse me for using that term, but I just don't want to see this girl on TV.
Listen, man, that's totally fair. I can respect that opinion. I watching the Royal Rumble match, I was just surprised. It was a good return. It was a good pop. I feel like the fans they popped for her, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like they cheered. It wasn't, of course, as loud as it was for Alexa Bliss. I must say also, Alexa Bliss's pop, like looking back at it, it might have been the pop of the night. You did touch upon it a little bit already, even
It
with
was
AJ returning.
ridiculous, bro.
But her pop was ridiculous. The yeah, that cheer she got from the 70,000 in that arena was insane. I'm sure she must have felt on top of the world in that moment. I
And
definitely think that was the better return. Go ahead.
not to be disrespectful, but I feel like that's what Nikki thought she was gonna come out to, and it wasn't even half of that, bro. I feel like they saved Nikki for the end, thinking that they were gonna get this huge pop, And I feel like Alexa just dimmed her light.
Nah, I think what happened there was like we knew we were gonna get a surprise at 30, and having Alexa Bliss there at 30 and not having her win at that number, I think would have pissed a lot of people off. But having her come out at 21, mixed in between there, worked out in her favor. I think they just wanted to give the fans like a crowd pleaser at 30. And I think that was a solid pick to do that with Nikki Bella. Now, when we got to 30, before we got there, I had the realization in my head. I said, okay, we have one entrant left. I have yet to see Jade Cargill so far. I have yet to see Becky Lynch. I
Hmm.
have yet to see AJ Lee. So if it were gonna happen, that's where my head was at heading into 30.
Hmm.
Realistically, Nikki Bella was not in my head. I thought it was gonna be Becky Lynch, but Becky Lynch did not make her return here. We went through the list. I wanted to ask you, was there anyone you were hoping to see return at the Women's Royal Rumble who we didn't get to see?
As for returns, I think, and I had to think about this for a while because I needed to see who's been out, for the longest amount of time, whose status is kind of mystery within the company. And I think the only person that I found on the female roster would have been Asuka. I would have loved to seen her return in this match. I know she's dealing with some personal stuff right now, so that was a little bit of a reach. But other than that, nobody that I can say I was dying to see. Was there anyone that you felt like we needed to see that didn't just didn't show up?
I definitely would have loved to see Jade Cargill here. I just think with the story with Bianca Belair and Naomi, I think she needs to interject herself before we forget sight of that storyline, especially as we head into WrestleMania season. Now, I'm not sure if there's an injury behind this, her being off TV for such a long time. I'm not sure what's going on, but it just feels strange. So I would have loved to see her there, just because we're building towards that WrestleMania season, and I do think they want the eventual Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill match. And I would have loved to see that storyline progress. So I was disappointed I didn't get to see her. In terms of Becky Lynch, I was hoping to see her. I'm not mad that I didn't. I'm sure they're gonna save it for a huge moment. Anytime Becky Lynch returns to television, it's always a huge moment, because she has a plethora of fans. So I'm sure they're gonna save that for something very soon. But I think I was most disappointed in not seeing Jade Cargo there. I don't know if you would disagree or agree with the whole storyline progression with Bianca Belair and Naomi. I just don't want. Well, I already do feel like the majority of people will not care about it when when she does return to television.
I think that's fair enough. I think that there is something to say there with it being too long of an absence, but I feel like they are using social media to their advantage. I know a couple weeks ago there was like a phone call on TV or something, and Naomi said that there were no update, and Cargill went on Twitter and said, "Oh, really? There was no update." They're kind of extending this to social media, and I'm not mad at it because it's not taking away from the show currently. I don't think that there's anything in that storyline that needs to be progressed, or at least shown to us just yet. Um, that can't be done in this sense the way that they're doing it on social media. Do I think that they should bring back Jade soon? Yes, I feel like she's someone that you want to have for WrestleMania, and if this eventually is going to lead into a possible feud between either her and Naomi or her and Bianca, then we need to start laying the groundwork for that to happen in time for Mania.
Definitely. Well, we're gonna just have to wait and see to see when she does make her return to WWE television. But that was just a storyline I wish we could have progressed in the match. A few other details on this match that I want to touch upon. Something that was exciting, were the four women that were NXT. Sorry, five women that were NXT call ups. Lash Legend, Julia, Jada Parker, Stephanie Vaquer, and of course the Iron Woman of this year's Royal Rumble match, Miss Roxanne Perez, who stood in the ring for an hour and 7 minutes. NXT here felt like they had a very, very strong outing, especially with the comparisons that fans like to make with the original Four Horsewomen, Bailey, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, um, and Charlotte Flair, with the new women who are leading the NXT division, Roxanne Perez, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia. How did you feel about the NXT call ups? Was there any NXT call ups that you felt like were missed here that they had an opportunity to present at this year's Royal Rumble? It was a stack card. Let's not forget as well.
No, I feel like they picked the better selection of talent that they could have sent to represent NXT. You had Julia, you had Steph, you had Lash. Lash, dude, Lash fucking showed out so well. Roxy was in there for the longest time, and I've said this before, she's inevitably gonna get a call up, and I'm so fucking excited for it. You had Miss Parker. These are the women right now that are standing tall in NXT, and I just loved that they went out there and they gave it their all. I feel like this is one of the very few times where NXT really stood tall and held their own in a match of this big. You had two spots that I would say with them that I would say are some of my favorite spots. One, you had the old guard versus the next gen, just a standoff between NXT and main roster superstars. And then in the same regard, you had the face off between Lash and Jada and our tag champs Bianca and Naomi, which these matches in the future will be great matches, even if they're just singles competition, if they're tag competition, whatever it is. These ladies are bringing it, and I feel like they're gonna come up to the main roster with something to prove, and they're just gonna get at it, man.
Yeah, I thought they held their own most definitely with the main roster talent. I probably enjoyed a few of their Royal Rumble matches more than the main roster, especially someone like a Roxanne Perez, Julia. Lash Legend did have a few spots here. She didn't eliminate anyone, but she had a strong outing, I guess you can say, without having eliminations. I feel like they gave her some solid TV time there. But overall, I was happy for the NXT talent that did get called up. One that I was surprised they didn't use was Delta, just because I felt like they made a big deal out of it. She's a big body as well, one of the larger, more muscular women on the NXT roster. I thought it would have been a great place to call her in as well, especially since you invited Stephanie, Roxanne, and Julia. I feel like they hold her in the same breath as them. But we got Jada Parker instead, and we got Lash Legend, and I am okay with that. When I did see Jada Parker, though, I was hoping that we were going to see Lola Vice, but unfortunately, that was not the case. I'll just have to tune in on Tuesday nights to see Miss Lola Vice. Um, and
Be-
then another.
Before
All right,
we
go
move
ahead.
on, I will say this: I love Jada Parker, but I'm with you. I feel like someone more deserving of the spot was a Lola Vice. Lola's been killing it, regardless if I'm a fan or not. Lola's been killing it down there, and I can't, I have to give props where due. So I feel like she probably was a little more deserving for the spot, not taking anything away from Jada. But I would have loved to see Lola do some crazy shit in this match.
Definitely. Yeah, unfortunately we didn't get to see her, but maybe we'll see her at next year's Royal Rumble. She is a young superstar as well. And now that we're seeing them give, I think it's 5 spots to NXT women, we can expect that moving forward. And then the new WWE superstar that made her official debut, Jordan Grace here. I believe she entered the ring. Let me double check. She entered the ring at number 19. She had one elimination, and that was Jada Parker. Stayed in the ring for about 22 minutes, so she had a solid outing as well. What were your thoughts on Jordan Grace's WWE debut? Do you think they made a big deal out of her debut here, and did they capitalize on the moment?
I would say that at the start, when I first learned about Jordan Grace, I wasn't the biggest fan. I felt like her whole gimmick was I'm the strong woman, but she couldn't really put it together well properly at the time. She has now come a long way since then, and I love that WWE just signed her and decided to announce it at the Rumble because this is a huge pickup. She has been huge on the indie scene for too long. She's been running TNA for too long, and I think it's time that she gets a shot at the big time. And I feel like WWE thinks the same thing. So where she lands, I have no idea where she's gonna land, but it's gonna be exciting to see her compete against all the females that we have. I would say that she had a great showing here. When I say great showing, I'm not necessarily considering, who got the most eliminations. I want people to go out there because we all know there's only going to be one winner. So at the end of the day, you should go out there if you know you're not going to win, canonly, go out there and just show us what you got. Show us why we should be paying attention to you week by week. And I feel like Jordan did that just well. She gave us that first little taste of what's to come by just completely carrying Piper Niven and slamming her down. And I'm excited. I want to see what Jordan Grace brings to the table this year, and I feel like she's gonna do big things in the WWE.
Definitely. Do you think she's going to be heading to NXT to start things off, or straight to the main roster?
This is something that I have been giving a thought of. Like since I learned that she signed with WWE, I've been giving a lot of thought because I feel like anyone that comes into a company can use some time in NXT. It's a good like learning ground, a good stomping ground to see what the competition's like. But Jordan Grace is that kind of superstar that I feel like doesn't really need to go through the NXT process, and you can just stick her on a main roster. Me personally, if I wanted to stick her on a main roster, I feel like she kind of has that Raw vibe to her, so I would stick her on Raw. But there is some really good talent down in SmackDown that I could see her, roughing it up with.
Yeah, I definitely think she has the personality to fit on Raw, especially with the Rhea Ripleys of the world, um, the Ivy Nows of the world. I would love to see her take some matches there. I don't know if they're gonna send her to NXT. That women's roster is already kind of stacked. They got Delta down there already as well. Um, so I would assume, I would imagine that they send her either to SmackDown or Monday Night Raw. I can agree with your Raw pick there, and we're gonna have to see how that plays out. But I do think she had a strong outing, and she was already, the WWE crowd had already seen her last year, so it was nice that she still got a pop, and they were excited to see her, and she seemed very happy to be back at this year's Royal Rumble. And then some additional notable eliminations that I wanted to touch upon as well was Liv Morgan eliminating Alexa Bliss. This one was a fun one. I thought this was interesting. I definitely think that we're going to touch on this as we head into WrestleMania season. I have always been intrigued with Alexa Bliss taking on Liv Morgan here, especially since they both look very similar in stature as well. I'm sure a lot of fans have them both in the same picture. So, what were your thoughts on that elimination? Do you think that that'll be a story that we see play out in the future?
That's not an elimination I would say I saw coming. It's definitely not Liv eliminating Alexa, but I guess it makes sense, right? Like you said, this is something that the fans have been kind of wanting for a while. They both kind of fit the same bill, but I feel like at the time when Alexa was hot, Liv was just not at the point where she is now, where she can pretty much carry the company on her back if she needs to. So I feel like now with what she's learned and the progress that she's made as a wrestler, I feel like now's the perfect time to pop this match or this feud, whatever you want to call it, between Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan. Who do I think should go over there? I mean, I know Alexa Bliss just came back, but I feel like Alexa Bliss putting Liv over just gives a lot more steam towards Liv. I know she doesn't necessarily need it right now. She's pretty much still on top. Fans still care about her. But a push like that would be good for her career. So we'll just have to wait and see if this progresses at any point, if this is what they decide to go for with Liv towards Mania, if Elimination Chamber doesn't work out or something. We'll just have to wait to see. But crazy elimination by Liv Morgan.
Yeah, I want to see what Alexa Bliss we're gonna get. That's what I'm most intrigued in. I know she had the dark side in sort of the dark clothing, very similar to what she was doing with Bray Wyatt before they split. I'm not sure if they're gonna go that route or if they're gonna go more when she popped out of NXT, especially with the mic work. So regardless, I think that this will be a fun match, Liv Morgan and Alexa Bliss. But I would be more excited to hear Alexa Bliss cut a promo against Liv Morgan. I feel like that's her strong suit. And so this would be a fun one to bring her back, reel her back into the WWE programming. I'm just excited to see her back on television. And Liv Morgan is continuing to have a great run here she's had all year. And I would be intrigued to see if they actually do decide to give it to, if they were to face each other one on one, who would it go to? I do think you're right. I do think Liv Morgan would probably go over there. But that's exciting stuff. Thought it was a fun elimination. Another one here was Ivy Nile eliminating our newly crowned inaugural women's intercontinental champion Lyra Valkyria. Um, I was a little disappointed in Lyra's outing, to say the least. I did want to mention that she didn't eliminate anyone, which I didn't appreciate, especially as the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I'm a fan. She was only in that motherfucker for about 16 minutes, and she got eliminated by Ivy Nile, which I later on Monday Night Raw this week. Chad Gable told Ivy Nile when he returns from mastering the dark arts of Lucha Libre, he wants to see Ivy Nile with the Women's Intercontinental Championship around her waist. So I think we're going to get that storyline progression there. And we got that elimination. How did you feel about Lyra's outing here as the Intercontinental Champion? And would you be excited for a potential Ivy Nile versus Lyra Valkyria match for that title?
On Lyra's outing, I would say yeah, it was a little lackluster. I will point out something that my buddy Chris said. He said that his favorite spot in this match was actually something Liv did, which going back and watching the Rumble with him, I didn't even notice it the first time, but I did notice it the second time when he pointed it out. Lyra at the beginning of this match had a wardrobe malfunction, and she just couldn't get it to kind of fix itself. So, as the professional that she is, and again, put some respect on her name, Liv did what Liv had to do, and she shoved her to the corner, and the cameras kind of got that as, hey, pan the camera away. She needs some time. And in that second that they pan the camera away, ran over, they fixed Lyra, she got back in the match. Bravo to Liv for having that kind of ring awareness and knowing when to step in and when to not. So, bravo to Liv. At the end of the day, Lyra kind of had this kind of weak outing. I don't know if that was on purpose. I don't know if they just want to make Ivy now look strong. I already said Ivy now is going to do big things this year. That whole group, American Alpha, is going to do great this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we all saw them with gold at some point, even if it's minor gold, tag belts, IC belts, US belts, whatever it is. But I have big hopes for American Alpha this year, and Ivy now is just going to be the start of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they have this match take place. I don't see her winning the first time around, especially since I don't think Lyra's defended it yet. I wish she would have had a stronger outing because I want to see my champions look strong, especially if someone like Lyra Valkyria, who's a great wrestler. I do remember watching that spot at the beginning of the match when Lyra was having a wardrobe malfunction and Liv did push her to the corner and it worked out perfectly. I thought that was pretty funny. So it was a nice catch that you and your buddy Chris had there. But should be a fun match when it does happen. I do hope American Made finally start winning some fucking matches, especially Chad Gable. Um, but heading into more of the nitty gritty of the match, want to talk about the woman who had the majority of the eliminations. Of course, none other then Miss Larger J Lo Nia Jax. She had a couple of eliminations. Couple. I'm not doing her justice. She had 9 eliminations, the majority of which came from what was like a fucking earthquake stomp or a rock of the ropes, where she fucking eliminated just the majority of women, but all the women she eliminated here were Zelina Vega, Trish Stratus, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Stephanie Vaquer, Io Sky, Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, and of course your personal favorite, Miss Nikki Bella. They just have a monster in Nia Jax, and they keep giving her all these great fucking spots. And it just kind of pissed me off. That I felt like when she eliminated all those women in that spot, that was the majority of the eliminations all night in that match because I just felt like majority women didn't get elimination in there because Nia Jax took them all, as she usually does. But whatever. I guess they have to give her that monstrous spot there. Any thoughts on Nia Jax outing here? I'm also, by the way, I'm just happy she didn't fucking win. I must say that. I'm just happy that she didn't win. But any thoughts on Nia Jax outings, on the amount of eliminations that she had?
I think all of us are pretty happy that she didn't win. There was a moment there where they could have gave it to her, and I'm glad they just didn't. I don't know if the person that they picked was any better, but at least Big J Lo, like you like to call her, didn't win. My buddy said it best when when he saw her come out, he's like, once I saw her come out, I knew a lot of people were going to go flying, and that's exactly what happened. Whether I agree with it or not, I don't. I don't agree that the Knights should have eliminated that many women that quick, or just even in that spot alone. I feel like you could have stretched those out. You could have gave them some of these superstars a couple more spots. Like you said, she eliminated Nikki Bella. I don't think I saw Nikki Bella do much more before that. So you could have just gave her a couple spots if you were going to give her a spot in the Rumble. I don't know, but at least, like you said, Big Dilla didn't win, so I'm happy with that.
Definitely happy that she didn't take the mantle here. And then heading more into the match, our final four women were Charlotte Flair, who entered the match at number 27, Nia Jax, Roxanne Perez, and Nikki Bella. What were your thoughts on these four women standing tall, with the other 26 women having been eliminated to this point of the match? When you got here and you saw Flair and you saw Nia and you saw Roxanne and you saw Nikki Bella, who did you think was going to take the win?
Well, I think it's obvious that I didn't want Nikki to win, and I think I just made it pretty obvious that I want Nia to win. So I knew this was going to come down to Charlotte and Roxy. And honestly, I thought they were going to do the right thing and just give it to Roxy, give her that page treatment, and just solidify her a spot in WrestleMania by giving her a title shot and having that be her main call up to the main roster. But they favored Flair again, and I can't say I'm surprised. It's something that you
Yeah.
and me even said last week, where like they loved them some Flair, so we wouldn't be surprised if she took it all. And I think your original pick was Flair to win it all, and if you would have stuck with that, you probably would have won this one because she came in there, she did her thing, and as we saw Monday night, fans aren't too happy about it.
Yeah, no, that is crazy. Yes, all right, let's get into this shit. So I was seeing the final four: Charlotte Flair, Nia Jax, Roxanne Perez, Nikki Bella. I knew Nia Jax wasn't gonna win. Said there's no way they give her this fucking win. They're gonna have Charlotte Flair go over or Roxanne Perez. And there was a slight chance that Nikki may have won in my mind, but I was like, there's no way. There's no fucking way. So when we got Charlotte and Roxanne as the last two, I was kind of hyped. I was kind of hoping Roxanne Perez was going to take this win because yes, that would have been that would have been a good surprise. That would have been a surprise like you were trying to get in the men's Royal Rumble match because Roxanne could actually wrestle and she could have put on a good main event WrestleMania match. So I was disappointed she didn't get the opportunity to do that here. But Charlotte Flair did win. We know that the WWE loves them some Charlotte Flair. The queen gets whatever she wants. It is what it is. Once you learn to accept it, you just live with it. You don't get upset at it anymore. You just learn to accept it and you live with it. But the fucking crowd on Monday night did not want to live with it. She won this match. She was excited. It was her in-ring return after what, a year and some change off of recovering from, I believe it was a knee injury or a couple of knee injuries. And so
Hmm.
she was clearly emotional and excited to be back. And I think even her pop at the Royal Rumble itself was not comparable to Alexa Bliss's pop. And especially because I think they did her a disservice by announcing her return. I think if you wouldn't announce her return, people would have been a lot more excited to see her. They would have been way more welcoming of it. And even if they weren't welcoming of it and they decided to boo her when they saw her at the Royal Rumble, that would have been that would have been better than what we got on Saturday night in my opinion. In my opinion, because the people were prepared and they were already of the belief, Charlotte Flair's coming back. She's gonna win this shit. She was the favorite heading in, and if you were to bet on her, you would have won the bet. And she did win. I'm not mad at it. It is what it is. We're gonna get a good match. Like Charlotte Flair, let's not be disrespectful. Charlotte Flair is gonna put on a good match. She always puts on a great match, especially when it matters. So if whether she picks Julia, which she's not going to, whether she picks Tiffany Stratton, which she is going to, or whether she picks Rhea Ripley, which she is not going to, at WrestleMania 41, we're going to get a great match. I say that all to say Who do you think she's going to select to face at WrestleMania? And if you were the WWE, if you had to go back a couple weeks, would you had made the announcement? Would you had played the vignettes? Would you had let the fans know that she was going to be returning at this year's Royal Rumble? Or would you had just let it play out and let her be a surprise as similar to an Alexa Bliss?
Even though I loved the promos going into her return at the Rumble, I would have kept it a surprise because you probably could have got the reaction that you got from an Alexa Bliss on a Charlotte Blair. And like you said, I feel like it would have dimmed her winning a little bit more in the eyes of the fans, but because you announced it, she instantly became the favorite to win. People in their minds had already gone against her wanting to win. Even us, we're huge Charlotte fans, and we were like, this isn't the right spot to win. I think I've been preaching it for the past couple of weeks with Roman Reigns. I don't think people deserve to just get shit handed to them when they return, no matter how big they were. I feel like you should come in and do the work that everybody else has been doing. If you are the superstar that you claim you are, give it a couple weeks and you can get yourself in a storyline that'll get you into a main championship picture. But to just come back and instantly expect that, or even if she didn't expect that, say it was on the part of WWE, just to have her come back and give that to her, I feel like that is super unfair to a lot of the other talent. So I'm super against this win. Like I said, I feel like Roxy would have been a better pick. You could have done something special for her call up. You could have, done it at Mania and had her have this moment. Even if she didn't win, it's a win for her because she gets called up and she gets to headline WrestleMania. But now we're just gonna get Charlotte and whoever she thinks she wants to face, and I think you're right. I think she's gonna pick Tiffy, and I think she should put Tiffy over. Um, but I have a sneaky suspicion that she's gonna
She's not going
chase
to put her over.
that she's gonna know that she's gonna chase Rhea. I feel like they have their mind set on that, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. I want her to go after Tiffy. I want her to put Tiffy over. If they go against each other, you're right. There's a small chance that she doesn't put her over. But I don't think that's even probably in her mindset right now. I think that they're hard stuck on having Charlotte and Rhea at Mania, and I think that's probably
Really?
where we're gonna go.
Why do you think that that's the case? Why do you think they want that match again? Well, we already got it 2 Manias ago.
I mean, we got it 2 Manias ago, but now you have a different beast and Rhea, a different competitor, not the same one that Charlotte faced those Manias ago. And these are two of their biggest stars. If you're gonna have a star-studded Vegas WrestleMania, why wouldn't you want to have one of your biggest matches be Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley? You know it's gonna fill the fucking seats, regardless if we're against it. People are gonna want to watch that match.
I disagree with that sentiment because I think Charlotte Flair wants Tiffany Stratton. I think she already got the match that she was going to get out of Rhea Ripley at 39. It was a great match, and I think they're going to have it again. But I think this was an opportunity to make a new star, as you mentioned. Now, I would be nervous to see if Tiffany Stratton would actually go over. And if I'm a Rhea fan, I wouldn't want Charlotte to face Rhea again here either, because I would be nervous that Charlotte's gonna go over against Rhea, having that she lost the last time they faced each other. So regardless, I am just nervous at whoever she decides to select to face at WrestleMania, because I have a sneaky feeling she's gonna walk away as champion, and I'm gonna be upset. So you know what? I'd rather have Tiffany Stratton not face Charlotte Flair. I hope you're right. I hope faces Rhea and Charlotte beats her and takes the title back. If that in a perfect world, that's what happens, and Tiffany keeps hers, and then maybe next year at 42 or whenever they have WrestleMania in Minnesota, being that is Tiffany Stratton's hometown, she can take on Charlotte Flair then. But now that you bring it up, you might be onto something, and I can get jiggy with that. As long as if Rhea and Charlotte go at it, as long as it results in Charlotte Flair winning, pissing off Rhea Ripley fans, and I'm a Rhea Ripley fan too. But I'd love to see people get pissed off if that were the case. So you know what? I'm a hop off the bandwagon, and I'm a hop on your bandwagon, and I'm a hope that Charlotte Flair does face Rhea Ripley. Um, but she is the winner of this Women's Royal Rumble. Charlotte Flair is entering number 27. All the women that she eliminated: Michin, Piper Niven, Nia Jax, the larger J Lo, and Roxanne Perez. So a strong outing at number 27. She is our WWE Women's Royal Rumble winner. She will go on to select either Julia, our current NXT champion, women's NXT champion, or Tiffany Stratton or Rhea Ripley for their belts at WrestleMania. I'm going to be looking forward to that. We already got her first promo on Monday Night Raw, as you mentioned before, where she came out and tried to tell the fans that she missed us. She tried to tell the fans of Cleveland that she was excited to be back and that the last couple of years or the last year and a half was the most difficult year of her life. But rather than being receptive, these fans were not having it. As soon as Charlotte Flair's music hit, they started with the boos. And it wasn't like heel booze. It wasn't even like Dominic Mysterio booze. It was sort of like teetering the fuck you booze. And it got me. I was watching it live and it got a reaction out of me because I even texted you. I said, I can't believe they're booing Charlotte Flair the way that they're booing. And she seemed like she didn't seem startled. She knows how to handle it because she's a natural heel. But it seemed like she came out to cut a heartfelt promo. It seemed like she genuinely was coming from a place of endearment and a place where she just wanted some sympathy for what she's gone through. But the fans were not having it, and she immediately turned it against them. She said, "You know what? I don't care if you boo me, because regardless, this last year was hard, and I'm back, and I'm gonna win." and I was just genuinely surprised at the reaction that she got from it. Now I'm sure fans, felt the way about her making her return after taking all that time off or being hurt, and immediately winning the Rumble. I definitely do think that played a factor in it, but I also think just like building it up the way that they did, announcing she's coming back, she's coming back, she's coming back, and then giving her the win there. And I apologize for saying the word giving. She didn't. No one gave her the shit. She won the match. She earned the right to be the women's Royal Rumble winner. But I can see how fans were being disappointed and how they were upset. How did you feel about her getting booed on Monday Night Raw to cut her first promo after being injured and after winning the Rumble?
I definitely did not see the crowd turning on her on Monday Night Raw. I thought she was probably in the same mindset that she was. I thought she was going to get this hero's welcome. Hey, we missed you. Like you deserve a chance, maybe, if that. But we definitely got the crowd just to turn against her. And like you said, I feel like the boos were teetering on fuck you boos. We haven't gotten those genuine boos in a while, not even with like, genuine heel heat with like Dominic Mysterio. We haven't gotten that level of a boo. So it was kind of crazy to see Charlotte return and not be this fan favorite. But like I said, I think we're done with this whole notion of just because they got the star power when they return, they're deserving of something. I feel like that's a big fu to the talent that we have in the back, and I feel like they, like everybody else, should have at least some way to work up and claim these opportunities, not just have them, be presented in front of them and then they just go ahead and they take them. They should have the wherewithal to be like, hey, maybe I should do a little bit of work before you give me this. And I feel like the fans are just finally starting to voice their opinion on it. We don't want to see people just get handed shit, and they just kind of handed this to Flair in a sense. I know you don't want to say it, but it is what happened. They saw Flair return and they said, "Fuck it, you're going to be the winner. You're going to headline WrestleMania," and this is where we are now. And I love that the fans aren't taking this lightly. They're letting their voices be heard, and only like this will shit be changed. WWE will learn from this experience, and next year they won't be doing the same shit.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I feel like Triple H answered it best at the press conference as well. He did say, sometimes predictable is good. And this one was a predictable winner. I'm not upset at it as much as other people are. I understand the business decision that was made here. It is what it is. Like I said, you just have to learn to accept some things in life. Just like taxes, Charlotte Flair is always going to get the next win, especially following a return. So hopefully she doesn't face Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. If it means she's going to beat her, if it means she's going to lose, I would love to see it. But In my personal opinion, I do think the Mania match here will be Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. It is February 5th, 2025. As it stands, who are you picking, or who do you think Charlotte Flair will be facing at this year's WrestleMania?
I think I made it pretty clear a little bit earlier. I say my heart says Tiffy, but the business mindset says Rhea. I'm gonna hope that it is Rhea, just for the simple fact that I don't think it's time for Tiffy to take a loss, and there's a good chance that she'll lose against Charlotte if she goes up against her at WrestleMania. So, in this retrospect, I hope that it's Rhea, but the better storyline, I guess, would be Tiffy versus Charlotte if Charlotte decides to put her over, but there's slim chance that that'll happen.
Bro, Charlotte Flair taking the prettiest moonsault ever would be fantastic. That's all I'm gonna say, and I cannot wait to see it. It's gonna be great. Great television, a great match. Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton will bring out the best of each other, the same way Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair brought the best out of themselves at WrestleMania 39. That is one of my favorite women's matches. I remember that spot where Rhea Ripley fucking hit a suplex, threw Charlotte Flair completely over, bro. She landed on her face. I remember that spot. That shit was disgusting. That was a horrible fucking landing. But man, what a match. I am happy with the outcome of this year's Women's Royal Rumble match. It is what it is. Some people aren't. But hopefully it results in that Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair match with Tiffany going over. Before we move on to the men's Royal Rumble match, a lot to talk about there. Is there anything that I missed in this Women's Rumble match that you wanted to talk about or touch upon? Any spots, any moments, or anything else, any interactions you may have enjoyed that we haven't mentioned yet?
I'm going over what I had written down. No, not really. I feel like we hit every single point that I needed to be said. I think you said it best. The winner is who the winner is. I'm a Charlotte fan, so I'm not completely mad at it. I love seeing that she's back, and I'm not completely mad at her taking a spot at Mania, even if I think that it wasn't the right way. But yeah, overall, I would say that the Rumble match, the female Rumble match, was actually pretty good this year.
Yeah, it was a good Royal Rumble match here. I think they get better and better when it comes to the women every year. I was happy to see that there weren't too many older superstars that made a return, too many legends or any gimmick entrants on the women's side. I thought they utilized every entrant very well. Um, Unfortunately, as you mentioned earlier, we didn't get to see some superstars like Shotzi, but I do think the majority of the women's roster was had a place in this match, and that is great to see. Happy that we got Alexa Bliss back on television. I was personally cool with watching Nikki Bella return to WWE television as well. And the NXT call ups that we got: Stephanie Vaquer, Jada Parker, Julia, Roxanne Perez, and Lash Legend. I know she's one of your personal faves. I was also excited about those. I thought they had a great outing. Overall, I enjoyed this match in its entirety. There were some spots where it was a little bit clunky in the meat of it all, but it's a long match. It's a hour long fucking match. That stuff's gonna happen. Um, but overall, I enjoyed it. It was a fun match to watch, and I am looking forward to seeing where all these women progress as we head into the WrestleMania season and what feuds will be taking place across WWE television. But moving forward onto the men's Royal Rumble match here, a lot to talk about, a lot to get into. Want to start off here with our number one entrant and our number two entrant of this year's men's Royal Rumble match, Rey Mysterio at number one. Now, when Rey Mysterio came out at number one, who was your guess that was coming out at number two? Who was the first thought that came to mind in your when you were watching the show?
Fuck, I don't know. Like as I was watching the show, I guess if I would have to say it, it wasn't the person that came out. If I had to say someone that came out later on that I would have imagined to be the number two spot, I would have probably said someone like The Miz or something. I would have imagined that they probably didn't want to start off as strong as they eventually did, but they completely shocked us and they went for it right off the back.
Yeah. Number two was Penta El Zero Miedo. When I saw Rey Mysterio come out at number one, I thought they were going to send out Dominic Mysterio at number two. That's why I asked. Because I thought they were going to send out Dom. I thought that would have been funny. And I thought it would have been a great way to go back to, potentially reviving that feud there as we head into what I think is going to be Rey Mysterio's last year of wrestling. And so I think this, I'm just anticipating Rey Mysterio retiring soon. And I'm anticipating. I know you're of the belief and the mindset that we're gonna get a Rey Mysterio and Penta match as his retirement match. I disagree. I think that we're gonna get Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. Because why the fuck, as a father, would you not want to retire? Have your last match be with your son. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So I just thought that would have been a good moment to relive that feud and start to bring that back. They went a different route here. They picked Penta, and I'm not mad at it at all. I thought it was dope. I must say, Penta's blue gear was sick. This WrestleMania, I loved it. He looked great. They're giving him the superstar treatment. Penta also is a lot more taller and pause. I'm pausing before I say it. Is and a lot more sizable. Pause again than Rey Mysterio. I like in real time as luchadors. I just have this idea of them, being of the smaller stature. But Penta's a pretty large human being. I would say he's about like what 5'11", 6 feet. Has some muscle mass to him, and compared to Rey Mysterio. So seeing them go at it to start the match was fun. It was exciting. The crowd loved it. I know Donald Trump probably wasn't the biggest fan of it, but it was a great way to start this year's men's Royal Rumble match. Now, I want to go through the full list with you of the 30 superstars that entered this match here. Just to kick things off. So we got at number one, of course, Rey Mysterio. Number two, Penta. Three, I love this pick. Chad Gable. Four, Carmelo Hayes. Five, Santos Escobar. Six, Otis. Seven, Braun Breaker. Eight, it was supposed to be Tozawa, but we saw he got attacked by Carmelo Hayes. Triple H made an audible. He had I Show Speed, streamer I Show Speed, take the place of Tozawa at number 8 here. Sheamus was number 9. 10, Jimmy Uso. 11, Andrade. 12, Jacob Fatu. 13, Ludwig Kaiser. 14, The Miz. 15, someone that you were looking forward to. I know you were excited. I could imagine how happy you were to see him. The TNA champion Joe Hendry. 16, Roman Reigns, our tribal chief. 17, Drew McIntyre. 18, Finn Balor. 19, Shinsuke Nakamura. 20, Jey Uso. 21, AJ Styles. 22, Braun Strowman. 23, the greatest of all time, the man chasing number 17, John Cena. 24, the supposed best in the world, CM Punk. 25, Seth Rollins. 26, Dominic Mysterio. 27, Sami Zayn. 28, Damian Priest. 29, LA Knights. And last but not least, at 30, Logan Paul. I just went through the full list there. Off rip. After watching the match back, after knowing the list of entrants, um, was there anything that caught your attention with the superstars that they decided to go with, or was there anything that caught your attention with the superstars that weren't in this year's Royal Rumble?
What do you mean? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, no, just in terms of like the the superstars themselves, in terms of the 30 that were selected to be in this match, anyone missing like The Rock, anyone missing like any NXT call-ups that we didn't get? There weren't any NXT call-ups. Was there anything glaring or anything that you wanted to see out of this Royal Rumble match that you didn't get to see, or anything that was a surprise in it in its entirety? Just looking back at the match and looking at the roster that was had here.
Well, I guess I gotta obviously say The Rock, right? From here on out, though, I think I'm honestly just gonna pretend he doesn't exist, because when we want him here, he never shows up, and when we don't want him, he sticks his fat bald head where it doesn't need to be needed. So maybe if we ignore his existence, he'll finally show up to work. So The Rock would probably be one of the people that I would say I expected to be here who wasn't here. You said it best. More NXT superstars in general for the men's side. I feel like we were lacking it. I had expectations of people like Trick and Oba and Fraxium. Even if they were in separately, or maybe if just kind of like the girls over at in NXT where they just sent over Lash. They could have just sent over Axiom or Fraser. I feel like we were just lacking in the regard of NXT superstars. So I would have loved to see a lot more of them. Big E is another one that I for sure thought was gonna pop, but at the end of the day, not even anyone from the New Day popped. So I guess it would have been wasted if they would have brought him back here. We also don't know his full, clearance status. We don't know if he's actually clear or not. They kind of just brought him back, started a storyline, and it's kind of fizzled out for the time being. But other than that, I'd say that I was pretty happy with the entrance that we got this year.
Yeah, no, it was definitely no NXT call-ups on this year's Royal Rumble. There weren't many surprises either. The only surprise, only thing that was out of the ordinary was Joe Hendry at number 15 at the halfway point. There were no other legend returns. There were no other debuts really. And Joe Hendry really isn't a debut. He just showed up because it was they have that partnership with TNA now, so they can blur these lines. But we've seen him on WWE television already, especially on NXT. So he was the only NXT slash surprise entrant at this year's Royal Rumble. I Like you mentioned earlier, The Rock not being in it. It is what it is. When we got to 30, I knew that Logan Paul hadn't entered the match yet, so I knew he was going to be the last one. Um, and that was cool with me. I thought he was gonna. There may have been a chance that he was gonna win it as well, but not having The Rock here, I guess we're not gonna get that Roman Reigns and Rock match. I guess it's time to let that go. And that, you know what? I'm cool with it. It is what it is. If we do get it, it'll be great. If not, whatever. There's no point in begging for it anymore. We didn't want it last year, and I guess he took that to note and he said, "Fuck y'all. I'm never gonna give y'all the match that y'all wanted." It is what it is. Um, but overall, just having Joe Hendry be the only surprise here, I guess, not to him, because I guess if they felt that way, I guess if they felt he was the only one that deserved to be in this spot, with how stacked this Royal Rumble card actually was. Shout out to him. I gotta give him credit where credit is due. But overall, I will say the superstars that were on in this match, fucking Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu, John Cena, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, like Damian Priest, LA Knight, these are all superstars that we're seeing on a regular basis on television. We're in a great spot in the WWE right now with how loaded the roster is, and we just saw it. Like, they didn't have to bring back anybody. They didn't bring back any Hulk Hogan's of the world, you know. They just said go out there and hoop. They let the men's roster go out there and wrestle, and I thought it worked out for them pretty well. Going over some details in this match here as well, in regards to a few more surprises and returns. AJ Styles at number 21. How did you feel or when you heard AJ Styles' original theme song, not the bullshit that Def Rebel pulled out, but the original theme song that he debuted at Royal Rumble 2015, was it? 16, was it? How excited were you when you heard AJ Styles music I will say I told your ass that he was gonna be coming back. I said just it's a red herring. They're just putting that bullshit out there. I think he just playing with you. I think he gonna come back. How did you feel about that? And how excited were you to see one of the former members and leaders of the Bullet Club show back up on WWE television?
I brought it up earlier. You got this red herring right. I was in the wrong on this one. You know, AJ was making it seem like his injury was a lot worse on social media over the past couple of weeks, but it was really just he loves keeping these Rumble surprises a secret. He did for his first one very well. They kept it under wraps. Nobody knew that shit was coming, and I feel like he did it again this year. You know, he kept it close to heart, and he surprised us all in the Rumble. And I gotta say, dude, I'm glad. I'm glad you were right. I'm glad I was wrong. He came back. Our boy looks phenomenal, no pun intended. And I'm just ready to see him in this. If this is still going to be his final year of wrestling, dude. I want to see what other matches he can, get under his belt before calling it quits.
Yeah, if this is gonna be his final year of wrestling, I'm excited to watch it. I'm happy that he was back here. I was happy he came back with his original music. I'm a big AJ Styles fan. I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get to see him interact with John Cena here, especially because they were close in entrance. Um, so we didn't get to see that interaction, which I didn't appreciate. I'm sure we'll get it later down the line this year if we do. Was disappointed there, but happy to see AJ Styles back. I thought it was dope. It was a great "I told you so" moment for me. And just glad that he's back. And I think to touch upon where he's going to be headed, Logan Paul did eliminate AJ Styles here, and we did find out that AJ Styles will be heading to Monday Night Raw moving forward, which is where Logan Paul himself is also a part of the roster. Do you think that we're going to get an AJ Styles versus Logan Paul match at WrestleMania? And if we do, would you be excited for that match
At WrestleMania, fuck, that seems a little
at
soon. But I guess
WrestleMania?
I guess if we start, like I said, I think this is going to be a theme for the next couple of weeks. As long as we can lay down that road work right now while we're on the road to WrestleMania, I think there's something there. I hadn't thought of it. I hadn't thought of maybe an AJ Logan 4 Mania, but that would be a phenomenal match regardless. And fuck, it's hard to say, but I would imagine that AJ Styles puts Logan over. I already said it. This year seems to be a huge year for Logan. I feel like he's going to do big things in his life in general, not only the WWE. So it'd be kind of cool to see them clash at Mania, but if you don't get it at Mania, it's definitely a match that you're going to get down later on in the road.
I think this is going to be their Mania match here. I think Logan Paul and AJ Styles will absolutely tear the fucking house down, especially with Logan Paul's athleticism, all the crazy springboard moonsaults, backflips he tries to do. Him and AJ Styles are going to have a field day. I do think if this match were to take place, I would agree with you. Having AJ Styles lose and Logan Paul go over, unfortunately. But if AJ Styles decides to say fuck that and hit a phenomenal forearm on Logan Paul and win at WrestleMania, I wouldn't be opposed to that either. But I do think this would be one hell of a showstopper at WrestleMania. I would be very excited to see this match. So hopefully that does take place, and they teased it a little with Logan eliminating AJ Styles here. But those were really the only two surprises and returns at this year's Royal Rumble. Everyone else was a current WWE superstar. The only other, misplacement or audible that was called here at number 8 was a funny, very funny moment that I do want to touch upon. Akira Tozawa being attacked by Carmelo Hayes as he made his way back to the gorilla position. Tozawa was walking out to make his entrance at number 8, but he was attacked, and so Triple H decided to send out I Show Speed as he was streaming backstage. They decided to send him out to be the number 8 entrant. He found himself in the ring with the likes of Otis and Braun Breaker, and Speed actually helped eliminate Otis. I think they even credited him with the win on WWE.com, or with the elimination. Yes, I Show Speed eliminated Otis. Insane. Anyways, After the elimination, Speed was in the middle of the ring. He hits a backflip. He's celebrating. He's having the time of his life. In the background, we see Braun Breaker running the ropes, going 20 miles per hour, hitting the ropes 3 times, and then hitting Speed with a fucking spear, bro. Bro, he didn't have to spear him like this, bro. Like in real time, I watched this spear happen, and I was worried. Like, bro, bro really tried to murder him on live television. It was insane. What were your thoughts on that spot there? How did you react? Did you think that shit was funny? Did you think it was a waste of a spot, or can you appreciate what they did with the moment?
I think I can appreciate what they did with the moment only because we are now noticing the true effects of living in a post Vince WWE, because stuff like this would have never been allowed through a Vince. Vince always wanted the entertainment to be WWE. He would have never reached out to streamers or popular online personalities to come in and give their show a little bit of a viewing boost. And Speed was just that perfect person to do that. I feel like both Speed and Kai Cenat being in the building is huge for the WWE. It's a whole different market that they could tap into. Not that their audiences don't already watch WWE. I'm sure that most of their audiences are fans of the product, but now you're getting that untapped audience that isn't a WWE fan. So I'm glad that the marketing team is finally making efforts to reach out to these content creators and allow them to do stuff like this. I am very against the whole celebrity spot inside of Royal Rumbles. I feel like it's a waste. But when they do it in this sense, where we know for a fact that Cesaro wasn't going to win, he has no moment. He had no momentum, behind him in the last past couple weeks. I knew that this is the perfect spot to have Speed, and Speed going out there and just taking that fucking hit from Braun. Braun was definitely on something this night, because he cracked two people with some of the nastiest spears I have ever seen. And honestly, I think you said it. Props to Speed for being able to take this fucking spear, because it definitely was a devastating spear. Even watching on the replay, watching it in slow motion, Speed took most of that hit, and he still gave Braun Breaker the okay to throw him over the ropes and onto Otis. So props to him for being a good team player. Props on to Braun for being able to carry this spot during the match, and also props to Braun on the outfit. One of my favorite promos, I've said this before, is the numbers don't lie. Steiner math, and his whole outfit, his singlet was just numbers. It was an homage to that promo, and I fucking love that shit, bro.
Nah, man, listen, Braun Breaker is a fucking murderer. He killed Speed on live television. That was crazy. Spirit the fuck out of that man, bro. Spirit the fuck out of that man. Like, nah, bro. If he didn't break a rib, I don't know how, but he did throw Speed over over the ring to Otis, who caught him, and then let's not forget the motherfucker hit the spear. He then threw him out of the ring. Otis caught him, and Otis hit him with a fucking over the shoulder suplex onto the announce table. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Speed didn't, nah, bro. Speed got fucked up, bro. Looking back at it, bro, that's not cool. But like, shout out to him for being a great sport about it, bro. Because he could have just took a spot of a superstar and been on bullshit and not done anything crazy, but he took a nasty spear and got thrown across the announce table. Nah, he got bullied, and he's not a wrestler. It's not like he's a Bad Bunny or Logan Paul, like the motherfucker just played video games all day in streams, and they threw him and speared him, and it was just insane. But the numbers that it did on social media, I think it got like 300 million views. Absolutely insane. But that was a great spot. Probably one of my favorite moments. I mean, we're talking about it here, so have to note. And then a few other notable things I wanted to talk about. In terms of the match itself, Jacob Fatu was a part of this year's Royal Rumble. He was the number 12 entrant with 4 eliminations: Rey Mysterio, Chad Gable, Jimmy Uso and Andrade. I know we talked about it a little bit last week. Is some superstars we were looking forward to seeing. He hadn't made the announcement that he was going to be there, but we did guess that he was going to be making his Royal Rumble debut. How did you feel Jacob Fatu's debut went in this match? Did you enjoy his outing here? And was there anything you would have done or booked differently for Jacob Fatu during this match here as well?
I mean, yeah, I think we kind of assumed that he was going to be a part of this. And out of the two people that I would say had the best outing, that being Jacob and Braun, I would say that Jacob went over Braun just out of the interactions and the I guess eliminations or the spots that they were in. Jacob just had a better position in this match. One of the bigger spots, at least for me, was the face off between him and Roman. That's going to be a fucking hell of a series once it goes down, and I honestly just can't wait. But just throughout the whole match, I feel like Jacob, you would put him against someone, and instantly you would go like, "Oh my god, that's going to be a great match." This kid has so much untapped potential, and I feel like we're just cracking the iceberg with him. And I think WWE knows that, and that's why they're putting so much momentum behind Jacob. So I was very happy with his outing. I felt like he did phenomenal in this match, and I'm ready to see more of him this year, dude. I feel like this is going to be a huge year for him, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what WWE has planned for him.
There was definitely some moments and interactions with Jacob Fatu that I enjoyed that I'm going to be looking forward to. Some of those being with Braun Breaker, as well as Penta. We saw them have a few exchanges there. But no, you mentioned it. Like whenever they do pull the trigger, he goes on his full singles run, which he's already teased, which he's already doing here. It's fucking fantastic. He's great on the mic. He's the best Samoan on the mic. It's not even close. It's not even close. And he can wrestle his ass off. He has that superstar aura to him. The fans fucking love him. Like, when's the last time we've seen them embrace the fans embrace a heel the way they're embracing Jacob Fatu? Like, it's different in the sense of with Roman as well. It's just a different aura to him. And so he had a great outing. You already mentioned as well the other individual who had a strong outing as well was Braun Breaker. Loved it. Besides the I Show Speed moment, he had a spear on Roman Reigns as well. That was disgusting. I don't know if that's the spear that you were referencing earlier when you said
Absolutely,
he had two of the. Yeah,
that was honestly one of my favorite spots of the night. He cracked Roman so fucking hard. I felt like Paulie was gonna faint, dude. This spear, I'm a sucker for when someone perfectly executes a spear. Triple H's spine breaker. Roman Reigns for the most part his spear, but there was something about Braun catching Roman so high up that made it look so goddamn brutal that it has to be one of my spots of this match, if not my spot of the night.
yeah. That was a great spear here. I do recall that one. It was the only form of offense I felt like Braun got on Roman. Hilariously, I do want to talk about it. Braun speared him, immediately went to go throw Roman over the ropes, which I was kind of when it happened in real time, I was like, oh shit, he might actually throw him over the ropes. Um, but Roman reversed it very, very quickly. Like right off the spear. He just ate the nastiest spear I've seen in 10 seconds after the spear he gave to Speed. And Braun throws him across a ring to throw him over the ropes, but Roman reverses it and actually sends him outside, eliminating Braun Breaker there. I didn't appreciate that. I was a little upset about the way they eliminated Braun. I felt like it was a little anticlimactic for the match that he had. But being that it was Roman Reigns who eliminated him, if that is, of course, that was done on purpose. If that is something that we're going to revisit in the future in a match between Roman and Braun Breaker, I can live with that. But what were your thoughts on the way Braun was eliminated here by Roman? Am I being too much of a stickler about that on my end?
No, I think the only other thing that I would consider that you aren't, or maybe you just didn't mention, is that Braun does hold a championship right now. So obviously he had to be eliminated by someone that's, I guess, superstar wise bigger than him. So I feel like this was perfect. Not only because he is being eliminated by our OTC, the biggest person in the company besides Cody Rhodes, but you also lay the foundation for these two to meet later on down the road. You know, it's a match that I'm sure we'll get someday, if not anytime soon later on down the road. But you have to start laying these small bricks. We know that WWE loves their long time storytelling, and this might be something that they bring up later on down the road. So for the way that he kind of showed out during the match, I don't think I'm too upset for Braun. I think that it probably was the most opportune moment because I don't think I can name anybody else that was left in the match that I would have seen Braun get eliminated by that I would count it as credible, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally fair. I can see that. I can appreciate Roman being the one that eliminated him. I just didn't like that it came right after the spear that we just so eloquently talked about. How it was one of the most nastiest spears that you've ever seen. It, like literally seconds afterwards, Roman was throwing Braun over. That's really my only gripe with it. It is what it is. It is what it is. Moving forward on to the match, a few other eliminations that we got, some other moments that I enjoyed, made note of. Roman Reigns also eliminated Joe Hendry. What did you think about that? Because Joe Hendry caught a spear from Roman as well. He did catch that.
Um, I think Joe's outing was pretty good. He came in, and I thought it was pretty funny that Sheamus was just in the corner and he was watching it. Jacob ended up putting an end to the little run that he had in the ring, and Sheamus was like, "Hey, what the fuck is your plan, bro? Like, I was enjoying that. Like, can't you just be happy for a little bit?" Uh, but with all that being said, I feel like Joe did great. Him, being eliminated that way, I feel like again, you have to have that kind of like personality on the main roster that is credible enough to eliminate a champion, because at the end of the day he is still a champion for TNA, and as TNA is under the WWE umbrella now, they have to give him some kind of credibility. So have him eliminated like that, I wasn't too upset. I wish we would have got the interaction that I had mentioned before between him and John Cena, but we just didn't get that. I don't know if that
I'm
means that they
glad.
will actually, and I know you're not going to like to hear this, but I don't know if that means that they'll
Nope.
actually pull the match down later on down the road. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I know that you're praying that it doesn't, but I wouldn't be mad at it. I feel like having John Cena during his retirement tour just go everywhere is pretty cool. And if that means going down to TNA and fighting Joe Hendry, even if it's not for the belt, I wouldn't be mad at it. I know you don't like the idea, but I wouldn't be mad at it. Overall, I was happy with Joe's outing. I'm excited to see what they do with him going forward, how long he's going to remain the champ down in TNA before they finally and inevitably call him back up. And I would say they're going to put him through NXT. So we'll just have to wait and see. But completely happy with what happened with Joe in the Rumble.
Yeah, he had a hell of an outing. He came out, I must say, out of the 30 men, I do think he probably had the loudest pop. Him and Alexa Bliss, I think, had the loudest pops of the night at this year's WrestleMania, besides, of course, the fucking winner of the Men's Royal Rumble. But anyways, Joe Hendry, hell of an outing. I enjoyed it. He got the "We Will Rock You" clap off with the fans as well. Um, nah, he did his thing, man. He did his thing. I'm not the biggest fan of his, but he did his thing. Um, I don't need to see him face John Cena. John Cena, don't waste your time, brother. You wouldn't send LeBron James to go play a fucking G League game. That's all I'm gonna say.
Bro, that's
We don't do that here.
disrespectful, bro.
We don't do that here. We're not sending LeBron to go play in the fucking G League. Nah, to go play the G League MVP. That's what we're
He's
not
going
gonna
down
do.
to
But
TNA, not down to
listen,
AEW, brother.
listen. We don't do that here. John Cena staying on WWE television. That motherfucker not even showing up on these episodes of Raw. You think he's gonna show up for a TNA episode? No, we're not doing that. Anyways, moving on to additional eliminations here. CM Punk with the elimination of the night. In my opinion, there's a point in this match. Where Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns were duking it out. They're having a little fight. They were trying to put each other out. They were trying to eliminate each other, but they were caught in the ropes. Roman and Seth were struggling with one another. CM Punk was laying down on the floor, watching them struggle until he finally regained the energy and grabbed Roman and Seth by both of their feet, flipped them over, sending them outside of the ring. Roman and Seth were eliminated from the Royal Rumble match. How did you feel about this elimination in real time, watching it happen?
This was crazy. I feel like this was the start of string of events that kind of just starts sending the ending of this Royal Rumble into a spiral. I After this started happening, because shortly right after this we got, another elimination. I feel like this started becoming such chaos that I had no idea at this point anymore who was gonna win, especially with the people that were still left in the ring and all these eliminations happening so sudden. I had no idea at this point where we were going. And that's kind of exciting when it comes to WWE, because we have mentioned it a couple times throughout this episode. Sometimes WWE can be predictable. And as Triple H said, sometimes predictable is good, but sometimes predictable or unpredictability is also good. And in this instance, with all the chaos going around, people not knowing where to put their attention, who to start cheering for towards the end of this match, I feel like they had something. They definitely did something special here, and this was the start of the end, I guess to say, of this match.
Yeah, I was surprised. I wasn't surprised that they were eliminated at all, actually. I didn't think Seth and Roman were going to win this match. I enjoyed the fact that CM Punk was the one eliminating them. When it happened in real time, I did think, I said, oh shit, CM Punk at the time, as soon as this elimination took place, I knew, okay, CM Punk, John Cena, Logan Paul, Jey Uso are still in this match. They are still in this match. Cool. CM Punk, John Cena are probably going to win this match. Probably CM Punk. And so I'm excited. I'm like, cool. Let's progress the story. Where is this headed? But as soon as CM Punk eliminated those two motherfuckers, Logan Paul showed up like the devil, grabbed CM Punk and threw him over the rope in the fastest fashion I've ever seen it happen. And CM Punk landed directly on his back, I think. Like directly off of on his back. I know he was pissed. I know he was pissed because this was a crazy elimination. And I'm sitting there like, no fucking way. What the fuck had just happened? Because now I'm like, holy shit. John Cena has to win, right? John Cena has to win. That's where I'm at. As soon as I see CM Punk get eliminated, that's directly where my head is going, where I'm thinking John Cena has to win this match. How did you feel when you watched Logan Paul make that elimination and send CM Punk's WrestleMania main event dreams out of the window?
Like I said, CM Punk came, did his eliminations. At that point, I think I was with everybody else where we thought, oh shit, Punk's actually going to get his moment. But then Logan Paul out of nowhere, and I will say, I got me kind of excited because he was my dark horse to win this all. He came out of nowhere and he just fucking dumped CM Punk like it was nothing, and all those dreams, all those fan dreams, just went away. And then, as like I said, the chaos started, and we didn't know who the fuck was gonna win this. Because in my eyes, I'm still thinking there's no way that we give it to John. But seeing the other people inside of the ring, I'm like, fuck, are we really gonna give this shit to John? I don't know, bro. This shit, like I said, starting from the Punk eliminating Rollins and Roman, this just got out of hand, and I had no idea where this was going.
Yeah. This took a turn. As soon as Logan eliminated CM Punk, Logan fell backwards, and the crowd and the camera turned its attention to what was happening outside of the ring. Now we have Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk all within arm's distance of each other. Roman Reigns and CM Punk are laying on the floor. Roman Reigns is in disbelief that he just got eliminated by Punk. He's staring at him and he's telling him, "What the fuck is your problem? We literally just teamed up like 2 months ago. Why would you eliminate me? Like, that's literally what he said. CM Punk is getting ready to make his defense, but Seth Rollins, who's standing over both of them, decides to do the nastiest shit I've like, bro. Decides to do the nastiest shit I've ever seen him do. He double curb stomps, like double coup de grace. He hits the coup de grace on the back of Roman Reigns' skull to the floor. He double curb stomps Roman Reigns. Bro, in real time, I'm watching this shit. I'm watching this shit and I'm like, oh, he's gonna hit the curb stomp. I thought he was gonna hit the regular 1 foot curb stomp. Nah, bro. He fully Mario jumped and double curb stomped this man's skull, bro. It was the nastiest move I've seen. Like, I remember watching Randy Orton punk kick motherfuckers. This was 100 times worse. Like in real time, like his full weight just came down on his skull, bro. And I don't know if it was the camera angle. I don't know if Roman and Seth just sold the shit well, but I was genuinely concerned. I said, "Nah, bro, he just hurt him. Like he just hurt him." I don't know if you felt the same way I'm feeling right now. Like even looking back at it now, thinking about it, like it just makes me cringe. It was a nasty looking curb stomp. Am I overreacting here, or am I justified in my opinions of this double stomp by Seth Rollins?
Nah, this was definitely some start of some villain arc shit for Seth Rollins because that, I mean, it's the curb stomp, heard around the world now because not only was it visually brutal, but just the sound of it, the thud, I could still hear the thud in my head clearly of him just bouncing off the mat. I think you're justified. I think when I first saw this on initial contact, I was like, he's dead. He's dead. Fucking Seth Rollins just killed the OTC on national television. It was just a crazy spot, and I don't know where they're gonna take this. Just because both of these people are on different brands, but at some point, Roman has to get some revenge over this shit because there's no way he can leave Seth Rollins unchecked after having that done to him at one of the biggest shows of the year.
Nah, Roman's gonna get his lick back for sure, bro. He's for sure gonna punch the fuck out of Seth Rollins the next time he sees him. Cause, bro, like in real time, that was insane, dog. Like I'm sitting there watching it, like pausing, replaying it, like watching it with my friends. I'm like, bro, nah, he's dead. Like he just fucked him up. I like literally said, nah, he wasn't supposed to do that. Like that was supposed to happen. He was not supposed to double stomp him. That was not part of the plan. They did not discuss that backstage. He went into business for himself. He hit that double curve stomp, bro. I was concerned. I was concerned. But anyways, he hits that and he turns his attention to CM Punk. They start to brawl a little bit. Seth starts to do a little heel turn action. He starts fucking people up, grabbing chairs and shit, hitting Roman, hitting Punk. He's just pissed. He just lost this match. He hits another curb stomp on Roman though. This time Roman was by the steel steps, so Curb hits the curb stomp off the steps. Roman is donezo. He's out. He's unconscious. He has a concussion. He is out for the foreseeable future, injured indefinitely by Seth Rollins. Do you think? Do you think that is the truth, or do you think that is just a work as we head into WrestleMania?
No, I think they probably want to give Roman some time to recover going into WrestleMania. So I feel like this might just be a work. The thud was crazy, and it did visually look insane. But I would have to say that in most instances, it was probably very safe. So I think this might just be a work. I don't think that the spot was crazy enough to like warrant a true injury. So I think it's just their way of kind of getting Roman away for a little bit, letting him and his body recover so that he could go on to either elimination chamber or mania just fully refreshed and ready to face whoever they're going to put against him. Like I said, I don't know if it'll be Seth. I wouldn't be mad if that's the match that we're going to get at Seth. It seems like we might be getting a lot of friends turned rival matches at WrestleMania. So if this is the way that we're leading, we'll have to find a way to get them both on the same brand. If not, just do a cross promotion, or a cross brand match. But like you said, Roman definitely has to get his lick back on this, and the sooner the better, so that we could progress whatever the fuck they have going on, and we could give Roman and Rollins something to do for the next couple months.
Yeah, give me the WrestleMania match, man. If this is the WrestleMania match, give that to me. I could do Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. That's a match that is a WrestleMania worthy main event match. I don't need a triple threat. I don't need CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. I don't need it. I can either have the Roman Reigns or CM Punk match. We can either do Seth Rollins or CM Punk, or we can do Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. But I would hate to see them try to all up into one and have the first one go as a triple threat. Would you agree or disagree with me there?
I think I agree, but only for the simple fact that I feel like I already have a lay of the land of what they kind of want to do with Elimination Chamber going into Mania. So I personally, like I said before, if this is the Mania match that we're gonna get, it kind of just makes the most sense because these two need something to do, leading into Elimination Chamber and on the road to WrestleMania. And if this is the feud that we're gonna build, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, if this is the few we're gonna go with, then I'm cool with it. As long as it's not a triple threat, then that's all that matters to me. But that was one of the craziest sequences in regards to eliminations here. Just want the record to be to know that fucking CM Punk eliminated Roman and Seth. Punk was eliminated by Logan Paul, which means there were three men left in this match. That was John Cena, Logan Paul, and Jey Uso. When we got here and I saw these three motherfuckers in this match, I immediately said, "Was winning this match. We're gonna get Logan Paul versus Gunther." I'm cool with that. I can get jiggy with that. That's a good match. When you saw these three in the ring together as the final three, who did you immediately go to as the winner of the Royal Rumble?
In the final moments, I had to go with my dark horse just because, like I said, I feel like Logan Paul's gonna do big things this year. But who has Damon had eliminated my original pick, which was Drew, so I had no other
Yeah.
choice but to go with Logan Paul because I said it before. I didn't think that they were going to give this to John. I feel like the chase for John is a lot better. I still don't think we'll get
Mm-hmm.
to it. I know that at the press conference, John said he's got this at the Elimination Chamber. I'm not quite sure that he does. I still think that the chase is better for him, and
He was pissing me off.
I don't think that we give him this big win, this big triumphant win to give him a chance at the belt so soon. I feel like I like my idea personally of him losing until he wins the Money in the Bank. We still have a full year. Yes, WrestleMania is a month away, probably a little bit more than a month away. We still have John for the rest of the time. Like, you don't want to blow your load too soon. Again, the chase is always better for these guys. Some of these guys need that extra oomph to give them that fan appreciation, and I feel like John Cena plays well at that. He likes being the underdog, and seeing him overcome is way better than just handing him something, and I feel like he understands that. Regarding what he said at the press conference, I feel like that's just him trying to portray a different version of himself, just to give us that hope that, hey,
Mm-hmm.
he might win at Elimination Chamber. But I really don't think that that's the way we were going regarding that.
No. Yeah.
So seeing these four, I was kind of nervous, because if Logan Paul wasn't gonna win it, I felt like it was gonna be either John and Jay. And to be honest, I didn't think, like I said, I didn't think John was ready, but neither did I think Jay was ready. And the match ended in a way that I don't think most of us expected.
Yeah, the match ended in a way that no one fucking thought it was gonna end. But I want to touch upon something real quick before I get to the finale, because John Cena was pissing me the fuck off during this match. He comes in at 23. Listen, I will say he came in at number 23. I don't think that was by coincidence. I think John Cena is a very intelligent human being. I think he knew that number 23 is worn by none other than our greatest basketball player of all time, LeBron
Oh
Raymond
my
James.
god.
And I think that is why he decided to enter the Royal Rumble at number 23. So I thought that was a great nod. I said, "Oh, we're going goat for goat." I could fuck with that, John. That's some dope shit. So just shout out to that. But besides that, he pissed me off throughout this entire fucking match because from the moment that he got in there, he was doing this little gimmicky bullshit, just being like
Oh
happy to
my
be there,
god.
jumping around the corner, standing in the corner, being all excited, pointing at the middle of the ring, like, look who's in the middle of the ring. I'm in the middle of the ring with Roman and CM Punk, and like looking towards the fans, putting his fucking hands over his mouth. Like that shit was pissing me off, bro. Because I get it, man. I fucking get it. I really do. Like, whatever. You're happy to be here. That's the whole shtick you've been doing. But listen, man, this is your last year. I'm not sitting here trying to watch you be surprised or excited that you're here. You are being called the greatest of all time. Let's take it as such. Let's take it as serious as such. Let's be intentional with everything that we do in these matches. Especially as you're saying, if the chase is that important, then let's fucking act like it, John. Let's not act like a goddamn child in the corner, surprised and excited to be at their first WrestleMania Royal Rumble. This is your 15, 14, whatever, 16, 20th Royal Rumble match. I don't know. But brother, act like you've been there before and take the shit seriously. That shit was pissing me the fuck off. I didn't appreciate that. That's just me. Just because I want to see him win, I want to see him be successful. I know how great of a wrestler and how great of an in-ring persona he is when he's being serious, and he's not doing that right now. And we saw that in the press conference, which got me excited, but that should have been the attitude that we came in with from the beginning. And that's just how I feel about it. That shit pissed me the fuck off. And I get it's a gimmick, I get it. But like, bro, it's your last year here. Stop playing. Go in there, take the shit serious, try to throw motherfuckers out this ring, try to win the goddamn match, but don't sit here acting surprised or grateful to be here. That's not what I want to see. Anyways, I just had to get that off my chest because that shit really pissed me off. But
Listen.
anyways, we get
No, no, no.
go ahead.
Listen, all right, because I'm gonna interject because this will be the second time that I've had to defend this. I don't see what the problem is. You're the second person that I've had this conversation with where they did not like how John Cena was reacting to everything within the Rumble. I felt like it was perfectly fine and on par with John Cena because he was just playing off that whole gimmick of, like, it's exciting to be here. This is my last one, and look at who the fuck I'm in the ring with. Like, I couldn't have asked for better company to be in the Rumble with. I think he was just having fun, and he was just expressing that, and I had absolutely no issue with this happening. But it seems like the more and more we talk about it, the more people come out saying that they didn't enjoy that. I don't know if you guys have been watching John Cena for the past fucking years, but this is on par with him, and I feel like it was perfectly acceptable for him to do. Maybe it's just me thinking that this wasn't the win for him, so it really didn't matter. But I don't think he did anything that John Cena wouldn't do in a normal match. And on top of that, I feel like he kind of made it a little bit that more exciting for the people inside the building. He was just hyping it up. He was, like I said, just looking around the ring and awing at the people that he was in there with because he knows that his time is up and these people are the future. So I feel like he was just in awe of that. I felt like it was perfectly fine. John Cena, keep doing your thing. I did mention, and you brought it up just now, he kind of changed his tone when talking about the Elimination Chamber. And I feel like that's fine because whereas the Rumble is a more fun match, Elimination Chamber is your more serious consequence match. More people get hurt in the Elimination Chamber. More people have, bigger spots in the Elimination Chamber just to themselves as opposed to sharing the room with 30 other people. For John to go into Elimination Chamber with that kind of mindset, I understand. For him to show out this kind of childish persona during the Rumble, I thought it was fine. The Rumble's a fun match. It shouldn't have been that serious, especially with the fact that all of us knew that he wasn't going to win this. Sure, and probably made it seem like that towards the end, that there was a small chance that he was going to win, but he wasn't going to win it. And when it did count, when he went up against Jay, I feel like he did kick it into high gear. So I don't see what the problem was so much with how he started off this match, but it does clearly seem like the WWE universe did not like that at all.
Yeah, didn't like that shit. Nah, don't you shouldn't be in awe of the people that you're in the ring with. The people that are in the ring with you should be in awe of you because you're John Cena. And I'm not saying they should be doing that. No one should be doing that. Just go in there and wrestle and take the shit seriously. I get that he has done this before. I just feel like he did the shit to an extent that he's never done it before during this match in particular. And I understand that it's his last Royal Rumble match. He was excited to be there. He did get the crowd hype. I get it. It's part of his shtick. I just think that they overdid it in this case, in this instance. And I knew he wasn't going to win the match. I was hoping that he wasn't going to win the match because the chase is the fun part, especially when it comes to Cena. um that's not why I was mad at the fact that he was doing this shit. I wasn't even mad at it. It was just like I just didn't I feel like it was unnecessary. It didn't add anything to the match, and it was just him standing in the corner being a character of himself, like being Peacemaker when he's supposed to be John Cena. That's how I felt about it. It is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. Then we saw him turn it up in the last couple of minutes, and we saw him turn it up at the press conference, and my ears perked up because that's the motherfucker I've been waiting to show up. That's the motherfucker I've been hoping for. I said, "Oh, that's the John Cena that I know. That's the John Cena that I remember. That's the John Cena that I want to see in his final year of wrestling." And we got the glimpse. We got the glimpse. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does when he comes back and how he goes into the Elimination Chamber. We'll go into the press conference after the match, but I just had to make that note there. But with the final three men, I'm gonna walk us through the last couple minutes, the last couple sequences here. The final three: John Cena, Logan Paul, and Jey Uso. Cena was up against the turnbuckle while Jey and Logan were fighting it out. Jey hit a spinning kick to the face to knock down Logan Paul. He tried his Uso splash on John Cena, but Cena got out of the way. He hit a running elbow on Logan Paul and Jey, both of them on the turnbuckle. Cena picked both of these guys up. He went for the double FU, the double AA, something we seen him do. I believe it was Big Show and Edge, if I'm not mistaken. We got that little glimpse there. I thought that was a great callback. He didn't pull it off, but when he does pull it off later this year, it's going to be fantastic. But he picked both of them up. Jey was able to fight off, get off his back. He super kicked Logan Paul, and that's when Cena was able to clothesline Logan Paul and get him outside of the ring. And then we were left with just two. Now, when we got to John Cena and Jey Uso, I immediately out loud, I said, "Oh, John is winning. He has to win. This has to be the case." I said, "Oh, wow, Cena and Uso, that's cool. But John has to win, right?" Like, I started questioning the motherfuckers I was watching the show with. I said, John has to win, right?" I start grabbing motherfuckers' shirt because I'm nervous. Now my heart is beating. So I'm holding people tight. I'm like, "Hey, but John has to win though, right?" That's where I was at. When it was Cena and Uso left, when Cena eliminated Logan, and it was Cena and Uso left, and were you still of the belief that Cena was gonna lose this match when you saw these two in the ring with each other as the last two?
No, listen, no offense to Jay, but no. I mean, at this point, I'm like, there's no way they're gonna give it to Jay. What is Jay gonna do that'll matter so much at Mania more than John Cena headlining WrestleMania? At this point, I was of the consensus, I guess, that John Cena was gonna take this. I was like, okay, so we're actually gonna go with this. I guess we're just gonna throw everything out this pay per view and we're just gonna hand shit to people. But like I said, they went the way that we didn't think. They decided to serve us. And honestly, look, at the time of this happening, I gotta say, I was a little upset. I was a little confused. I was like, what the fuck is happening? But fuck, I don't even know, bro. I don't even fucking know. This was crazy, bro. Like how the fuck did we go from Jay losing to Gunther twice in a row to giving him an opportunity to have the shot at challenging Gunther once again without having Gunther have any say in it? I have no idea how we got here, but I wasn't happy about it. I don't know if I would have been completely happy with John winning either, but this was completely left field from WWE.
Out of left field, bro. But when it was these two left, I literally started grabbing people's shirt, tightening it up. I said Cena has to win, right? Like I think I'm texting you, I'm texting a couple of my friends. I'm like, Cena's winning this shit, right? Because I'm of the like, there's no fucking world that I think Jey Uso is gonna win this shit. So we get John Cena and Jay as the last two standing in there. The crowd begins to go crazy for both of them. Cena hit his two shoulder tackles, the spin and slam. He goes for the five knuckle shuffle and hits that on Jay. Cena picked up Jay, went for an AA, but Jay slipped out and he hit a super kick. Jay tried to flip Cena out, but Cena held on. Jay hit a super kick on John Cena again, and he tried to eliminate Cena, but Cena managed to kick him down. Jay bounced off the ropes, hitting a spear. Both guys were down to sell that they were tired. Jay then tried to get up and eliminate Cena, but Cena tossed Jay, and Jay held on to the ropes. Cena charged at him. Jay sent him over the top rope to the apron, and they battled it out on the apron. And this is when I started to get nervous because now these two motherfuckers are on the apron going back and forth. And I'm like, God, God, God. I must say, WWE did a fantastic job here. Like I thought up until the decision of who was gonna win this match, I thought this was a phenomenal Royal Rumble match. From the superstars that had great outings, like Jacob Fatu, Braun Breaker, from people who were making their Royal Rumble debuts, like Penta, he emoted about 10 times. He got some Cero Miedos offs. Um, to people like Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre. They had great spots here as well. We're going to talk about Drew in a little bit. CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. I thought it was a fantastic fucking match. And then it culminated with, like you said, just insane craziness for the last 10 minutes, where people we thought were the favorites were getting eliminated by dark horses. Logan Paul eliminating CM Punk, where we didn't know how we ended up in the place that we did, but we got there. And at least for me, my heart was pounding out my chest because I was like, holy shit, John Cena is gonna go to WrestleMania and uh main event it. And that wasn't the case. Both of these motherfuckers, Cena and Jey Uso, were battling it out on the apron, and Jay hit a super kick on John Cena, but Cena held on to dear life. He fought back. He lifted Jay to go up for an FU, but Jay was able to break out. He went into the ring. He ran the ropes. He pushed Cena in the back. And that's when Cena wasn't strong enough to stay on the apron. He fell off, and both feet hit the ground. And the match was over. John Cena was eliminated. Jey Uso was standing in the middle of the ring. Main event, Jey Uso's music started to play. The camera focused in on John Cena while Jey Uso celebrated, and Cena couldn't believe it. His face of disappointment. It just all came crashing down. And the worst part about it was the winner, he just lost his last championship match literally 7 days ago against the guy he's going to select to face at WrestleMania. Why even bother having that match 7 days before if you knew he was going to win the Rumble? Why? What are we doing here? Listen, I'm not mad that John Cena won. I mean, that John Cena lost. I don't care. I thought they did a fan fucking tastic job of actually making me believe that he was gonna win. Maybe that's why they did it. Because the only motherfucker that they could have left in there to seriously have me believe that there was no way Cena was going to lose this match, it had to be Jey Uso. Because had he had Roman Reigns in there, had there been CM Punk in there, had it been Seth Rollins in there, Had it even been Logan Paul in there as the final two with John Cena, I would have thought any of those guys are gonna throw him over. No problem. Gonna be easy. It was too easy. But having Jey Uso be the last one standing there, that was the catalyst to actually making me believe that Cena was gonna win. So maybe that's why they did it. I'm now saying it out loud made me realize that this was the decision that they decided to go with because they knew I wouldn't have believed it any other way. And so they threw Jey Uso in there because they knew we wouldn't believe it. And then he actually did it. And he won. And he is the winner of this year's Royal Rumble. And it sucks because I like no, listen, I like Jay. I like Jay. I fuck with Jay. I think his entrance is cool. You know? Like that's about it. I think
That's
his entrance
about
is
it.
cool. He cuts a good promo. He has solid matches from time to time. But like, bro, I don't even know what to say, bro. It's just deflating, bro. Just deflating. You're telling me you had, I think the final six were Logan Paul, Roman Reigns, John Cena, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, and Jey Uso. Those are the last couple motherfuckers in that match. Out of all the people that I just mentioned, the person you decide to give this win to was Jey Uso. To go face the same person that he just lost a match against 7 days ago. I just want to know what they were thinking. I just would like to know what the thought process was there. I went on for the last 10 minutes here, man. When it was all said and done, when John Cena's 2 feet touched the ground and Jey Uso was celebrating in the middle of the ring, how did you feel? Where was your heart at? Where do we go from here? Just overall thoughts on the entire situation and Jey Uso being our 2025 Royal Rumble champion.
I would have to say that at the start of all this Rumble nonsense, I don't think any of us had Jay winning this. We made it pretty obvious that for the last, I would, unless I'm getting it wrong, the last two attempts that Jay has tried to beat Gunther, he has not been successful. So, like you said, giving him another opportunity at Gunther, if it wasn't even for the Rumble win prize, I wouldn't even want Jey Uso, in no disrespect, I wouldn't want Jey Uso even looking at Gunther at that point because Gunther has already proven to us that you are not better than him. If it wasn't for the Rumble prize, you wouldn't even had the opportunity to show us that you are better than Gunther. Whether that is the way that they go or if they just have Jay lose for a third time at the biggest show, I have no idea. But this is definitely not the way that I saw it coming, you know? Um, your cousin, my one of my best friends, Julio, said it the best. I feel like I'm witnessing Kofi Mania 2.0 with this. I feel like this is something that they feel that they need to capitalize on just because of the fan appreciation that Jay carries, maybe even some of the merch sales. Maybe they want to capitalize on some of that, but I feel like this was in all senses the wrong call for this time, especially with him losing so often as he has leading up to this. What their plan is, I don't know. I would hope that Triple H has something solid in place for him, and I hope that it does turn out sick for Jay. Like you said, at the end of the day, we're both Jay fans. We like him. We know he can do what he does best when the time comes to it. But leading up to this, it just wasn't proven. So just handing him this for whatever you have planned better be worth it at the end of the day because this Rumble win just wasn't it for me.
Yeah, it was just anticlimactic in my opinion in terms of the Rumble winner. Like CM Punk versus Gunther would have been a great match if that was the decision that they decided to go with. CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes, Cena versus Gunther, Seth versus Cody, Seth versus Gunther, Roman versus Cody. I would have picked Roman versus Cody, or because Roman wouldn't pick Gunther, but it was just anticlimactic for me, especially with just like Had they not had Jay lose the previous weekend, because we know the thing is, we know he's not gonna pick Cody.
No.
Like we know that's not what's gonna happen. If they do decide to go that route, what the fuck? But 99.9% chance that he's gonna select Gunther.
Hmm.
And we've seen Gunther whip his ass already for the Intercontinental Championship and for the World Heavyweight Championship. And you said it. Maybe it's a Kofi Mania thing, but even then, it was like Kofi was so over that they couldn't deny it. He was undeniable. He was undeniable, and he had to win. Jay is over in the sense because his entrance is cool. It's not because his it's not because he's over in the ring. Like that's not why he's over. Um, we got the Braun Breaker Intercontinental. We got the Braun Breaker Intercontinental Championship off of him, and had him go over there, and that was a great spot because no one believed it. No one thought that was gonna happen. That was a great surprise. That was a fantastic surprise. Now y'all doing a whole lot of dick riding because that was a great spot, and that's the peak surprise you're gonna get out of Jey Uso because now you're force feeding the shit to us. Now, if he wins the World Heavyweight Championship, you force fed it, and I can't get jiggy with it. Like it is what it is. I don't want to harp on it too much. Um, I just think they missed the mark with what the options were and what could have played out here as we head into WrestleMania. I'm just not as excited to see a Jey Uso and Gunther build up versus any other build up I would have got had it been another Rumble winner. I'm just not gonna enjoy, or I don't feel like that's gonna be an enjoyable 2 months of television. Him coming out, cutting the same promo, getting a few sentences, yeet, getting a few more sentences in, yeet. Like I'm just not gonna enjoy it. It is what it is. Um, but for what was one of the best Royal Rumble men's matches that I've seen, that I thoroughly enjoyed, that had me on the edge of my seat, for it to end the way that it did, I think it was just anticlimactic. Um, but congratulations to the Royal Rumble winner, Jey Uso. He hasn't made it official as to who he's gonna pick. He said he's gonna go visit Cody on SmackDown this week, talk to him about the decision that he has to make. But bro, and honestly, bro, don't even mention Oba Femi. Because if you go down there to the NXT, Oba Femi gonna whip your ass. Oba Femi gonna whip your ass. And he would have every right to do so. So I'm glad Jay didn't even go the Charlotte route and mention an NXT champion because Oba Femi would whip his ass. And that's all I gotta say about that. Are you looking forward to a build up between Jey Uso and whichever superstar he decides to pick is to head at WrestleMania?
Again, like I said, I think just because of how I feel, and we'll get to it right now when we get to the press conference, the way I feel like they're gonna play out Elimination Chamber, I think the only pick for him is Gunther, and that's kind of sucks just because of the same reasons we've been giving this whole episode. He lost twice already. I don't need to see it. He put you in your place with two different belts. The only reason you're even getting to talk to Gunther is because you won the Royal Rumble. If it wasn't for that, you wouldn't even be in the title contention or probably even in the Mania picture to begin with. And that's not bad. It's just that it's just not your time. And I know that sucks probably to hear when you're Jey Uso and you've been in the business for so long. But right now, there's bigger storylines that have to play out, and there's nowhere really to fit your storyline without having it force fed the way it is right now, and that just sucks. Am I excited for a build up between these two? Not at the slightest. I'm excited to see Gunther wrestle just because I love watching Gunther wrestle. But do I need to see this again at a Mania? No. I really hope that he throws us a curveball and he does go Cody, and that just throws a wrench in everything else. Because at this point, whatever match that Jay lands in that isn't Cody, I'm not really that interested in watching at Mania.
Yeah, no, it's over. It's over. I feel like they tied themselves up with this winner here. It is what it is, though. I want to touch upon some superstars here and where they're going to be heading post WrestleMania. The first, or sorry, post Royal Rumble. The first superstar, we didn't really mention him yet, but very prominent, Drew McIntyre. I felt like Drew had a solid Royal Rumble outing here. He entered the ring at number 17. He actually didn't have any eliminations. He was in there for about 30 minutes. Um, this is also where I'm a little conflicted and confused because heading into the Royal Rumble match itself, Drew was cutting promos on Roman and Paul Heyman, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, letting them all know, and the Bloodline, letting them all know he has one person in his mind, one person that he has to get his revenge on, and that one person was none other than Roman Reigns. And so when we headed into this match, I was hoping that we were going to get that interaction. We didn't get that. We didn't get Drew McIntyre and Roman facing off at all. I don't even know if they interacted with each other looking back at it. I may be wrong. But that took place. That did not take place. And Drew was actually eliminated by Damian Priest in what was sort of like a forgetful elimination, because what happened was LA Knight and Logan Paul were also in the middle of the ring, battling it out while Drew and Damian Priest decided to take and run the ropes, and Damian Priest eliminated Drew McIntyre, but it was lost within the match itself. But Drew McIntyre's elimination here was confusing to me, just because I thought that he was going to be a focal point in this match with Roman Reigns, Punk, Seth Rollins, but he didn't have that. I thought that he was going to be a dark horse winner as well, but he didn't even get an elimination in. But they went with the Jey Uso route. Where do you think Drew McIntyre is going from here? With the rumors that he's going to be facing Damian Priest at WrestleMania, do you think that is a feud and a match that is worth the year that he's brought and the worth the year that he's had at WrestleMania with all the feuds and all the matches that he's had so far this year?
You brought it up earlier. It seems like his elimination was, I don't know, somehow interrupted or interfered with the out of spot positioning between LA Knight and Logan Paul. We've been hearing a lot of speculation, from the back, whether if that was intended or if maybe something went off script. I know there's been a lot of heat with certain people post Rumble, in the back. None of those stories have come out to be with any truth as of now. If that changes, we'll report on it. But it did seem a little out of place for Drew to get eliminated in the spot. I feel like even when he got eliminated, he had this kind of shock face on him, whether that was part of the storyline or not. He had the shock face on him, and it seemed like Priest, for a second there, was also visibly obsessed or confused, and ended up changing into a smirk so that they could progress whatever storyline they might be going into. If that's the storyline that I feel like they're gonna go into for Mania, again, this is another one of those situations where we're gonna have to either do a cross a brand match or we're gonna have to move one of these guys because I feel like both of these stars, Damian Priest had just moved to SmackDown, and I'm pretty sure Drew's on Raw if I'm correct. So we'll have to get these two on the same brand or at least on the same match card eventually. And I don't know if I'm too happy at that being the route that they're going to go after the year that Drew has had. I definitely thought that the Rumble was going to be Drew's comeuppance because he has been on such a hot losing streak for so long that I thought this was finally going to be the bone that they throw at him. But again, he just comes up short, and I don't know if that's just going to be the story of Drew's life. I hope that's not, but it just seems like he can't come up, with the win when it's needed. And I get it. He plays a really good underdog and he plays a really good troll, but do you really want your reputation to just be filled with all these losses and nothing to show for it? Because I can promise you, when people go through these kind of like hazings or these periods of times where they're just taking any match so that they could, eventually get a comeuppance, it doesn't seem like Drew's getting any comeuppance at all, and that's starting to worry me.
Yeah, he's not getting any comeuppance on any of the stories that he said he's going to get that on. And it's just unfortunate to see, especially with like this Roman Reigns angle, because they just forgot about it completely in the Royal Rumble. And Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania is a potential match that would have been fantastic, that has legs to stand on. They face each other before. Roman and the Bloodline have screwed Drew time and time and time and time and time and time and time again. Um, Maybe Seth Rollins turns his hands and shakes them with Drew McIntyre, and they have a two-man power trip or whatever the fuck. But it just sucks to see Drew continue to lose here, especially as a big fan. And the man can wrestle his ass off. He cuts an amazing promo. Like in so many ways, is he that much better than Jey Uso in every which way? He could have easily won this match and would have elevated him and his stock, and especially paid off after the year he's had losing the big matches. It just seems like he continues to lose and lose the big matches. And at what point, as you mentioned, at what point is one loss too many? Where we just stop caring, where he doesn't have anything to back him besides that trolling factor and being funny, etc. So sucks that Drew had the outing that he did here. Very unfortunate. And if Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre is a WrestleMania match that they get, I'm disappointed for the both of them. Not even just Drew McIntyre, and that's the fact that I don't even like Damian Priest, but I would be disappointed in both of them, because I think both of them deserve a better feud, and one that they would each be more passionate about, I guess is the word that I would say. But we'll have to wait and see how this plays out as we head into Elimination Chamber. Maybe Drew McIntyre will be a part of that as well. It's not over yet. It is not over yet. But going on to a few other eliminations here that were notable. Finn Balor eliminating Penta. Penta was the Iron Man of this match as well, standing in the ring for 42 minutes with only one elimination, that being Ludwig Kaiser. But Penta was actually eliminated by Finn Balor here, which I thought that was great. I would love to see Finn Balor personally versus Penta, and he would lose. Like Finn would lose, so it makes sense. Whatever. Just give Finn another loss. Like Drew McIntyre and Finn are gonna end up in the same goddamn segment. Like just hand him motherfuckers losses and just living with it. If you were gonna keep giving Penta wins, hey, I got a loser lined up for you, Finn Balor. We can get that match off. I'm sure that'll be the plan soon enough, and I'm sure Penta will win that. So I'm just gonna accept it before we even head into it. But with that elimination taking place, do you think that's a match we're gonna get in the near future, Finn Balor and Penta?
I mean, I would hope so, right? I mean, there's so much potential, so many potential rivalries that you can have with Penta, and Finn Balor would be a great one. But at this point in time, I feel like you're kind of onto something. If we put Penta against Finn, Finn is going to lose, and it comes down to the same thing that Drew has going on. How many losses before we stop caring? And I love Finn Balor. You and me both love Finn Balor. We've been big fans since his Bullet Club days, and just to see that he really another one that hasn't gotten any comeuppance even through all the shit he's been through this year. It's starting to worry me. Is he ever gonna get that comeuppance? Is he now just this guy that puts people over until his contract's done? And he either retires or goes somewhere else. I don't know. I would imagine the Finn Balor wouldn't be going anywhere else, post his WWE career. But how long do you have him in this losing stint before he personally gets tired of constantly losing? And I think that's also a problem with having so much top talent right now, is that you really don't have enough time to squeeze everybody, but you kind of have to be giving these guys a shot. And for Finn Balor just to keep losing, again, it's not something that we're used to, and I don't think it's something that we want to associate Finn Balor with losing, especially since we do associate him with being such a dominant wrestler and a dominant champion. Eventually, he's got to get his comeuppance, and I would prefer it be rather sooner rather than later. And sticking low against Penta right now is just going to be another loss. So I would want this match, yes. I would just want it later on down the road, where maybe Penta doesn't have as much steam as he has right now, and he can take a loss, and Finn Balor can get a win off of Penta. A win off of Penta would be huge for Finn Balor on his road to probably reclaiming any type of relevancy within the main storyline. So, yes, I would like to see this match. It's just not the right time for me. But if they go for it, then Penta is just going to have another name to add to his collection of wrestlers that he's beat.
Yeah, brother, Imma just let you know Finn Balor gonna lose that match, so don't even get your hopes up because I don't want you to disappoint yourself. I don't want you to disappoint yourself. But wanted to also ask you in terms of interactions, in terms of moments, callbacks throughout this Royal Rumble match, were there any moments that you can appreciate looking back at it? Anything that stood out to you? Anything that you personally enjoyed? Maybe a few interactions with some superstars that took place throughout this match.
Um, yeah, I mean, we touched upon it lightly. I mean, I feel like anything Braun and Jacob did in the ring that night was phenomenal. Jacob definitely set himself up against people that he could potentially feud in the future. He even gave us, a tease at the Roman Jacob match that we will inevitably get sooner than later as well, because that's one of the bigger storylines that's playing out. I would say I personally did enjoy, John Cena going out there and being himself. Um, Other than that, just the ending, I would say, not the winner of it, but just those last 10 minutes of just pure chaos. I would say was one of my favorite points too, because like I said, predictability within the WWE is something that we're so common to that when they do stuff like this, it really does take us by surprise and it keeps us on our toes. So even though we didn't agree with the winner, I do appreciate that they went in a different direction. So overall, I would say that the Rumble match was a good match, and those are probably the top surprises or comebacks, whatever you want to call it, that I enjoyed the most. What were some of yours?
Yeah, I think some of my favorite ones here, some moments that I thought were great. John Cena, CM Punk, Roman Reigns standing in the middle of the ring when Seth music's finally hit and he made his entrance. Seth immediately turned his attention to CM Punk. They battled it out. Cena and Roman went at it for a little bit as well. Thought that was a great little moment between those four superstars there. Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns, as you mentioned, trading punches in the middle of the ring, teasing their match that we're going to get in the future, as well as Roman Reigns spearing Joe Hendry. Thought that was a good one. And Braun Breaker spearing Roman as well. Thought that was a great nod. If we do hopefully one day see that Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns match, I will be curious to see who will go over there. Um, and then also a great camera angle that we got here. Following Seth Rollins' entrance into the ring, he and CM Punk will fall back and forth until Rollins got the better of him then, and Roman had gotten the better of his fight with Cena. But Rollins was laying in the middle of the ring, like getting himself up while Roman stared at him and just stared at him like he was gonna knock him out. Just thinking about the Shield days, thinking about all the things that he's done to him. You could see the anger in his eyes. I thought that was a great camera angle, a great callback, and a great moment here. I do think I will say, if we live in a perfect world, with what we have currently is in our current situation with the way the stories are progressing, and where everyone's falling into this Royal Rumble season, WrestleMania season. I think we're gonna get Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins at this year's WrestleMania. I think that's the match that Roman Reigns is gonna find himself in, and I think it's gonna be a good one. So if I don't know how we get there, but I think that's where we're headed, and I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully getting that out of it. And we'll see where CM Punk lands and where his story goes. Maybe he wins the Elimination Chamber and he faces Cody or Gunther, but time will tell. I also wanted to ask you, in terms of superstars that we didn't see, was there anyone that you wanted to see that did not show up at this year's Royal Rumble, or anyone else that you were disappointed with? I know we talked about The Rock, but any surprises that you may have been also hoping for, other than Trick Williams and Obafemi? If not, I have a few.
I think I brought it up earlier. Just people like Biggie. I felt like Biggie was like a shoe in. I had brought it up last week. I thought that this would have been a crazy opportunity to do something and even revitalize the story with the Wyatt Six and Mr. Howdy. That didn't pop either. Um, I know that we had talked about this last week too. There was a couple of contractual roadblocks for Aleister Black to return. I thought maybe they would have gone the route of buying out the contract or maybe bending some rules to have him on. But it seems like those were there to stay, and there was no chance that Tony Khan was going to let that shit go. So, um, disappointed Alistair Black didn't pop, but it seems like Chad Gable is going off right now for a little while off of TV to go study, the black arts of lucha libre. And my guess is that Alistair Black will come back with him, and that'll be a giant pop. As for anyone else, not really anyone that I could think of, but I'm excited to hear what your failed possibilities were.
Yeah, where the fuck was Randy Orton? That was first of
Oh
all.
yeah, that one
That's my
too.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the fuck was Randy Orton? That was one. Where's Solo? That was another.
Ooh.
A surprise that I had guessed didn't happen. I'm not mad at it, but it would have been cool. Dolph Ziggler,
Yeah,
another
another
one that
one.
would have been cool. That would have been cool. Matt Cardona, aka Zack Ryder. That would have been a cool one. Those are my only two other ones that are out of the blue, out of the ordinary. But where the fuck was Randy Orton? That's my question. We didn't see him at all. Nothing. Not even in the championship match, which I thought he may have taken a role in. But those were the only disappointments that I had. Overall, I did enjoy this year's men's Royal Rumble match. Probably one of the best ones that I've seen in a very, 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 very long time. Those last 10 minutes will have a place in my heart. My heart also struggles with the fact that John Cena did not win. Congratulations to Jey Uso. I know I am not as excited as other people may be. I'm just gonna have to learn to accept it. It is what it is. We'll see how the feud takes place and how it progresses with Gunther, if that is the decision he decides to go with. But all in all, really enjoyed both the women's and men's Royal Rumble match here. Great time, and I thought all 60 superstars who participated did a sensational job. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to Charlotte Flair and Jey Uso. Triple H said it. Predictable sometimes is good, and I guess that is the route that they decided to go with this year. But there were still two matches left on this card that we have not had the opportunity to talk about. I want to quickly touch upon them. Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens in a ladder match for the WWE Championship. This match here, an absolute death match, if I must say so myself. These two individuals went back and forth. They used every weapon, they used every corner of the ring, they used any ladder that they can get their hands on, whether that was a suplex that they were putting each other through, a power bomb, crossroads. They were just absolutely trying to kill each other in this match. It was nasty. There was a couple of spots here that I recall vividly. There was one, I think it was a suplex that Cody hit on Kevin Owens on the ladder, but the ladder was angled to where the corner was sticking up, and Kevin Owens's back directly landed on the corner of the ladder off of a suplex, and it was so nasty. My back hurt watching this shit. Cody was having a field day here. That motherfucker gave no fucks. There was another spot where Kevin Owens, I think, hits a power bomb through, but it was like he just threw Cody off of his shoulders onto the ladder. Cody's head hit the ladder first. It was nasty looking. Um, these motherfuckers were trying to go just kill each other. The match was so bad. They were hurting each other so bad that Sami Zayn had to come out there and check in on both of them because he was concerned for their health. And he was like, yo, they're gonna kill each other. And the way the match uh came to an end was Kevin Owens was going to go for the Canadian Destroyer on Cody Rhodes on the announce table. But Cody Rhodes reversed it and put Kevin Owens in the Alabama Slam. And very conveniently, was there a ladder that was placed between the announce table and the ring. So when Cody reversed the Canadian Destroyer into the Alabama Slam, he slammed Kevin Owens through that ladder with Kevin Owens' ass just hanging out. Just just wiped him. Kevin Owens bleeding. His neck is bent. He's dead. Cody just killed him on live television. Sammy had to run over to Kevin, check in on him. Cody went into the ring, grabbed a ladder, climbed up, and unhinged the two belts. He is still our WWE champion, undisputed. And you would think that Cody would feel bad for what he just did to KO, because KO was a bloody mess, bleeding from his mouth, unconscious, just dead. And I thought, Cody would have a heart, go down there, check in on his former friend. But nah, Cody just paraded around while Sami Zayn held Kevin Owens' dying head in his arm. Cody just paraded around celebrating. Very similar to Rocky 3, where Rocky was holding Apollo Creed while Drago said, if he dies, he dies. That is the exact picture that I got there. It was that serious. And Cody was just celebrating with both of his championship belts while Kevin Owens stayed there and died. And that was the end of that match. How did you feel about this one here? What did you think about Sammy coming out to check in on his friends? Did you like the ending of this match? Did you like the outcome? Where do we go from here with all these story progressions as well?
I mean, this match was absolute destruction, an amazing match for the two of these. Honestly, thought these two wanted to kill each other while they were in the match, which just goes to show how great they are at deepening the storyline with their emotions and the way that they portray themselves inside the ring. This ended with Kale's head in a ladder slot, and that shot just alone was pretty fucking sick. I had never seen KO bend that way. The whole time I was hoping that Cody wouldn't go and check on him. I know that you brought it up that he had this kind of cold feeling to him instead of going and checking on KO. But I feel like that's the Cody that we're trying to build. So I wanted him to stay away from him. I wanted him to show that coldness, and he did eventually. If you paid attention, went closer and he just asked one of the refs, "Is he okay?" And then he fucked off. But even that, I wish he wouldn't have done that. I wish he would have just stayed the cold blooded killer that he was that night. And we just got to see the progression of this kind of darker Cody. Um, just a little bit more shit talking. I feel like a little bit more shit talking would have made it a little bit better. But then again, we're building up to that. He's not ready to start that process yet. For him just being cold to KO, even though they were friends, I feel like that was perfect. Sammy did come out at some point, and to our surprise, stayed neutral all the match, which I really thought he was going to get involved. He did go to KO once the bell had rung, but that's his boy. I expect that to happen after the match, just like I expected KO to eventually turn on him, which we saw Monday night that he did. And honestly, if that's the Mania match, I'm not going to be mad at it. Sure, we got the elimination coming up, but everyone else needs to start looking for stories if you want to make it onto that Mania card. And KO wanted Sammy versus him at Mania for the belt. That didn't go his way. So he made his own way to get that match on the card, I would assume, because I feel like this will be the match for them at Mania. I could see this feud blossoming on the road to WrestleMania, and I'm not going to be mad at it because we've seen this before, and every time they go at it, they tear it down. So Cody took up the win. I don't know if I'm too happy at the outcome. I wish maybe there was a little bit more of a brawl, but just seeing KO crumpled up inside that ladder, I think was enough of a visual impact that it made Cody's win and him holding up those bells make him look that much stronger at the end of the night.
Yeah, Cody went on a rampage. I know you must have been so excited to see him tap into
It's coming, dude. It's
that
coming.
Homelander side of himself. Um, so I definitely enjoyed this match, and it was just a barn burner, as you like to say. I can't believe that Alabama Slam put Kevin Owens out the way that it did, with Sami Zayn heading over to him once the match was over. Um, I did think that Sammy was going to interject. I thought that Sammy may have like stopped Cody from grabbing the belts or done something like that, but that's not where it was headed. Um, and ultimately, we did find out on Monday Night Raw, following the Royal Rumble, we had a qualifier match between CM Punk and Seth. Sorry, between CM Punk and Sami Zayn. Um, A phenomenal match, a fantastic match. If you have a chance to go watch it on Netflix, please do. One of the better main event Raw matches in a very long time. Um, a couple close calls here. I didn't know who was gonna win it. I thought it was a toss up. Unfortunately for Sami Zayn, CM Punk did end up winning this match. The way he won it was Sammy went for the haluva kick, but CM Punk had caught him and reversed it into the GTS, pinned him, won the match. When the match was over, CM Punk and Sami Zayn shook hands, and CM Punk headed out of the ring. Sami Zayn stayed. Of course, Kevin Owens came from the crowd and attacked his friend who had just held him in his arms while he was dying. Kevin Owens, with a blackened eye and what seemed to be a dislocated shoulder, made his way into the ring with Sami Zayn having his back to him and hit a Canadian destroyer on Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is now also dead, and he will be written off of television for a couple months. So it seems like we're heading towards the Sami Zayn versus a Kevin Owens WrestleMania match. I love that. I can appreciate that. I'm going to be looking forward to that. But concerned that Randy Orton did not make his return here, I am curious to see where he will be taking place, what role he will have as we head into WrestleMania in Las Vegas. All in all, fantastic match. Want to touch upon it a little bit, really just because of the ending of this match, was the tag team championship match, which was a 2 out of 3 pinfalls match between DIY and Motor City Machine Guns. They traded a pin each here, with DIY taking the first pin, Motor City Machines taking the second pin, and DIY taking the last one. But the only reason why they took the last pin there was because of a distraction caused by the Street Profits towards the end of the match. The Street Profits did attack the Motor City Machine Guns, allowing DIY to take advantage of this, getting the pin, retaining their championships. And so the crowd booed and was very disappointed in the outcome of this match, especially with the Street Profits interruption. And I was confused when this happened just because why the fuck would the Street Profits attack Motor City Machine Guns? They don't have any partnership with DIY. But then we found out that Street Profits were just in it for themselves because while DIY celebrated, they also attacked them. And it seems like they just made their claim for the tag team championships. Just touched upon it a little bit, but wanted to ask you, what were your thoughts on the match? If you have any, did you enjoy it? And what did you think about the way this ended, how it was executed with the Street Profits coming out to cost the Motor City Machine Guns their championship opportunity?
I know that some of these matches can go a little bit under the radar just because of, the people that are in it are a little bit more technical. This was obviously going to be a more technical and more wrestle, type of match. But I would encourage everyone to at least give it a shot. Whenever these teams are on display, this was actually a solid match. These are two of the teams that I would consider workhorses in the business right now, so I expected nothing less of a technical great match. And honestly, I found it entertaining as fuck to watch. As someone who enjoys these kind of matches, I understand that these could be a little bit more boring. They're not the showstoppers that some of the other matches that have the bigger superstars have, but it's still a very good showcase of technical prowess that we have within the WWE. The Profits coming back was cool. They're another great tag team that I enjoy that can use some more time to shine. Is this the chamber match? Makes the most sense, to be honest, and maybe even leading to a triple threat match between these three teams at Mania. Triple H he has said and is leading an initiative to build a new strong tag division. And from what I've seen, I say he's taking the right steps in the right directions. And I'm excited to see what he does to bring notoriety back to the tag belts. We saw the magic that he did with NXT. So I trust he's got something solid for this new vision and for all these great superstars that we have and are acquiring in the months to come. DIY did retain, and honestly, I'm not mad at it. The Guns will get their chance to challenge again, and shit, this might even lead them to get their first match on a Mania card. So good for them. We'll see as the weeks progress. We'll see where all these teams and all these superstars fall into place. Like we said, we are now on the road to WrestleMania, which is very exciting. So there will be a lot of feuds and a lot of kind of matches that get presented and thrown around until we finally build and fill up that Mania card. But I'm excited, dude. This match, like I said, it was great. If you enjoyed that kind of side of wrestling, it was a good watch. But if you don't, I understand that too. This is not for everyone. Other matches on this card were for you, like the Cody and Kevin. But at the end of the day, like I said, these are two of the workhorse teams in the company. So watching them always go out there and show out is an amazing time.
Way to put some respect on the goddamn tag division. It was a good match, and I'm excited to see what happens with Street Profits and uh, how they play into their feud with DIY. I hope they take the tag belts off of them at some point. I think that would be exciting. I feel like they're deserving of it. Montez Ford, great. I want to see them take more of that heel side. So if that's a decide that they did, if that is the route that they decide to go, I would not be upset at it. I just thought the execution of their interference was a little weird. In terms of the match between DIY and Motor City Machine Guns, these two teams did put on a great match here. So if you haven't had a chance to watch it, please go out and do so. Um, but all in all, Royal Rumble out of 5 stars. How many stars would you give the 2025 Royal Rumble?
I would say I'm just gonna deduct the 1 point because of the Rumble winners. I think I made it pretty obvious that I wasn't in agreement with the winners, but hey, this is where we're at. This is where we're going. Just like the presidency, you kind of have to be with it because if not, this is what we're getting for the next couple of years. So um, I think this Rumble was great. I'm gonna give it 4 stars out of 5. The surprises were great. The matches were great. I feel like just in total, this was an entertaining pay per view to watch. We've had some in the past where they were a little bit lackluster. I would say that this wasn't. I feel like they hit all the marks that they needed to, and it paints an interesting picture going into WrestleMania. So we'll just have to wait and see, like I said, where everybody lands and what the storylines end up being for that main card.
Definitely. I think out of 5 stars here, I would give it a solid 3.75 or 4 out of 5 as well, depending on the day and how I'm feeling. I do think that the winners were predictable, but as Triple H said it himself, well, Jey Uso wasn't goddamn predictable, but Charlotte was predictable. The other winner was a little disappointing, but all in all, I thought it was a great two women's and men's Royal Rumble match. Great spots. You said it yourself. Some of these haven't panned out. This one wasn't one that felt that way. I thought it was a fantastic match, especially the men's Royal Rumble match. But the winner was just a little bit disappointing. But I wouldn't want to discount the rest of the match because of the decision that they decided to go with. All in all, Jey Uso, I hope if they do go the Gunther route, all I'm gonna say, if we do go that route, I hope Jey Uso puts on a good match at WrestleMania, but I hope Gunther wipes the fucking floor and he whips his ass and he takes the hope and the excitement out of everybody in that goddamn arena who's gonna be yeeting and throwing up their goddamn hands up in the air. And I hope they give Gunther that opportunity. If this results, the only way this is okay, the only way this decision here is okay is if it results in Gunther just smashing Jey Uso, just taking the goddamn life out of the man, just putting an end to the yeet of it all, and calling it a day. I would love to see that fan reaction at WrestleMania 41. I would love to see the disappointment in everyone's faces. I would absolutely adore and love to see it. If that is why we're here, then I will be okay with it. And we're going to have to wait and see. Um, and then in terms of anything else, John Cena, get it fucking together. Get it together. Go out there, win. We didn't touch upon the press conference yet. We'll touch upon a little bit now. At the press conference following the Royal Rumble, John Cena decided to not take questions. He said, "We're gonna do something a little bit differently, and I'm gonna talk to you, and I'm gonna find out who's gonna be able to get the quickest headline off, and that's the game we're gonna play." he made the announcement that, you know what, after entering today's or this last Saturday's Royal Rumble, he made a realization once he was eliminated or once he was in there that this would actually be the last time he would be participating in one of these. And that's when it hit him. That's when it hit him. He made the realization that, you know what, it is best for business that John Cena is in the main event of WrestleMania. It is best for business that John Cena goes out and wins the 17 championship. He is what is best for business. That is what John Cena said. And if that is the case, then go out there and fucking show it, John. Don't be going out there fucking excited and happy to be there, pointing at people, pointing at your opponents in the ring. Did fucking Kobe and LeBron ever fucking clap at a Dwayne Wade shot or something? No. So don't fucking do that. Get in there, whip some ass. And if you're gonna go to the elimination chamber, you're probably gonna do that too. You're gonna lose that too. But I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Keep trying. Just don't be out here bullshitting. But that what we got in the press conference, that serious tone, putting his foot down. That's the Cena that I've missed. That's the Cena that I've been hoping for. And I hope that's what we see moving forward. But I still can't believe Jey Uso won this shit. Anyways, a time was had, a Royal Rumble was watched. Thank you all for listening to this year's Royal Rumble review in this week's episode of the Word Around the Ring podcast. My name is Big Rob, and I'll let my partner make the outro.
This one was a long one, but this was a long pay-per-view. That brings us that brings this week's show to an end. I'd like to thank everyone and anyone who's listening for giving us a chance. I hope you enjoyed the show and come back next week for more. Like always, a like, comment, and a sub goes a long way. It also shows us y'all are still rocking with us. This week's question is: did your Rumble pick win? And if you're watching on YouTube, was your pick to take it all the winner? Let us know in the comments, and we'll get back. We'll be back next week, as usual. But until then, always remember the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at sacrifice. Till next week.